Josh Butler's club speed, as it were, and the bat is accelerating perfectly through the ball. The swing looks really easy, and as a result, the ball's going miles. He looks in absolute control of his game, Rohit, at the moment.
Short and pulled away by Rohit Sharma, and that has missed the fielder. And disappointingly, it bounces inside the boundary sponge, and the sign of the devil is temporarily moved away as we go 6-6-4.
The neighbour of the beast.
Bowling is hard. Rohit Sharma looks like batting is easy, as India are now 92 for no wicket. And that's a slower ball, which Rohit just guides to point. There will be a single.
He could be having one of those games today where even when he doesn't time it, it still works because he's in such good form.
There is in the midst of all of this the idea that just Rohit Sharma does Rohit Sharma things, and it really doesn't matter what you do in response.
Well, normally Rohit's thing in T20 international cricket is to start at a sort of moderate pace, and in ODIs to some extent as well, and then just sort of gather momentum like a train. But today he started like he was fired out of a torpedo tube.
So Kohli, who was going at a very pedestrian rudder ball, will just usher the ball down to long on and take a single, and he'll keep Rohit Sharma off strike. Oh, no, sorry, there'll be one ball left in the over, and Rohit Sharma will undoubtedly smash it to an unoccupied part of the Modi Dome.
Which is all of the Modi Dome right now. I mean, Virat Kohli has basically been Rohit the runner for the last 3 overs.
Yeah, and to be fair to Virat Kohli, it's nice for him to acknowledge that the thing I need to do is to be not hitting the ball as much as possible. Just let my partner do it. Last ball of the over, and that has been... Oh, he's been bowled! Bowled. He's the slower ball, I think, from Stokes, maybe dragged on, and Stokes has managed to get his man, but it's taken 64 runs off 34 balls in order to exhaust Rohit Sharma today. And India a scrambled seam and an inside edge, and it's clipped and careened into leg stump.
Well, George McPherson wasn't very happy on YouTube about England, saying that their bowling pretty much is going from bad to worse, but maybe we've got a wicket there, might cheer him up a bit. Ruda Kathari says clueless bowling from England, should have targeted bowling slowly since the start. And Diana Craddock says these T20 matches make me so nervous. Oh, Diana, calm down, dear.
It's all right, it'll be over soon.
It'll be over soon, indeed. Neymar Butlin, speaking of torpedo tubes, I need to go and take some fibre this morning. Warren says this might be over for the England-Ireland game. Watching two of the best white ball batsmen of this generation in the middle, it's extremely exciting, says So There I Was. And we're putting up loads of pictures of T-shirts, which you can get from our store. Have a look at those.
Now, we've got a new batsman, which we will jingle when he faces his new first ball. But we have got a change in the bowling. And unfortunately, we've only got 2 overs left of Adil Rashid. I'm going to use one of them now.
Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45. Adil Rashid on the 45.
And that is down the leg side, and Kohli turns it away on the 45, and we'll take a single.
Yeah, I think good call from Morgan. Wicket's just fallen. Rashid's been bowling very well at Virat Kohli. Get your main man back into the attack. But it's brought into the middle, a man who started his T20 international career in fine form the other day.
Surya Kumar, Surya. Now I know the others might have let you down. It's not too late to play Surya now.
And Surya will face his first ball, and that is the genuine leg break. Surya will play that down to deep cover and take a single. It's nice to see Surya Kumar in the side, but I feel a bit sorry for Ishan Kishan that he's played quite well and ends himself on the outside looking in.
Yeah, he got a sort of slight thigh strain at the wrong time, which allowed Surya to come back into the team.
And that's hit the pad of Kohli, but probably going down the leg side. There'll be a leg bye taken as the ball careens into the offside field. Some debate between the umpires, not what's sure.
Yeah, and
oh no, it's up out in the inside edge because it's been classified as a run off the bat.
That must be what the umpires were discussing, whether it hit bat or not. Googly from Adil Rashid. I don't think that did hit bat, to be honest.
No, didn't look
Surya
like
Kumar takes a half step down the track and lofts Adil Rashid 20 to 25 rows back directly behind the bowler's head, and that's gone for a lovely 6.
Having been struck by the bats, the ball pitches beyond the boundary. It's a 6.
Kohli there just saying to him, look, can you just do what Rohit did, because I can't be asked today. You know.
I'm not sure who he's gesturing at. Is he gesturing at Adil Rashid? As that's slightly wide, and Surya Kumar goes aerial again and hits a gap beautifully between long off and deep cover, and I think that's 6 more, although there will be a small check.
Fabulous shot from Surya. Maybe slightly over-pitched. The first one he used his feet really well to come down the track, and even though he didn't get to the pitch of the ball, still lofted it easily. You talk about not really trying to hit the ball too hard, and that one he's howitzered over extra cover for one of these.
Smack it in the air. Smack it in the air. Legs moving side to side. Smack it in the air. Smack it.
He's gone aerial again with the last ball at the over, but it bounces in front of Chris Jordan at long on, and he'll take a single. 16 runs coming off that over, most of them off the bat of Surya Kumar. 110 for 1. Nestle boy, what have we got by way of social media, lad?
Well, social media. I've got
Social
Warren.
media.
He sent me a picture of his rushed breakfast. Looks like he's got some egg on toast, a bit of bacon or sausage, some sort of fry things. Looks very nice, though, Warren. I'd have it. Ravi Nair says India have learnt throughout this series their game, the condition, the opposition, and adapted and got better with every game. England haven't. And on Hot Mic, we've got with us Martin, who says, good morning from Indiana, USA.
Well, good morning from Indiana.
As opposed to the Indiana in the greater Birmingham area. welcome. Yeah, I think Ravi. I don't know if England. I don't think it's fair to say that England haven't learnt and got better. England are further ahead in their development than India are, but it's certainly true that India have warmed to this new hyper-aggressive approach, which they are going to need, and to maximise their resources and to challenge England.
It's going to be Ben Stokes to continue, and that is wide. It would have been a wide, and that's, I think, bounced in front of Owen Morgan. Either that or it's a very easy drop from Owen Morgan, and Surya Kumar will not take a single. India will remain on 110 for 1.
Those projected scores are quite high, aren't they?
Yeah, if they carry on at the same rate, 220 is what they'll reach if they carry on at the same 11 runs per over. But there's a big if in that statement. Stokes in again, and that is down the leg side. Would have been a horrible wide, but flicked over a short square leg. Deep square leg manages to get round Sam Curran, flinging himself to prevent 2 runs from being scored. But Surya Kumar looks in fine fettle.
Picked up where he left off last game, picked up where he left off in the last 2 IPL seasons. Sam Curran really did save Ben Stokes' bacon there. Did good work coming round from deep square leg. I'm really sure. Well, Stokes was trying to go in at the body of Surya, but got it horribly wrong.
Stokes in again on leg stump, and Surya pushes the ball through mid-wicket, and it will be Johnny Bairstow who will come in and do the fielding. Surya 17 off 7, bringing Kohli on strike. 24 runs, or 22 balls to get there.
I mean, if you've got the firepower that India have, the way they're playing now is, in the T20, is the way forward, surely.
It is. It's taken them a long time to work that out, but yes.
Stokes in, and Kohli comes down the track and almost yorks himself and pushes the ball down to long off, and they're happy with a single. 25 off 23. India 140 for 1 with 2 balls left to go in this 11th over.
I'm sure Andy Ward is very happy with the way they're performing.
Indeed. I mean, India are going at, north of 10.5 and over. And really the only break on that has been the fact that Kohli has basically just been nudging the ball around. He's only really had to nudge the ball around, but still.
Certainly has. A slower ball, I think, from Ben Stokes, and Surya Kumar was through the swing before the ball had arrived, and that's a swing and a miss on the inside edge. The ball barely carries to Butler. There'll be no run from this 5th ball of the over.
I think we'll see India bowling a lot of those slower balls into the pitch. Shardul Thakur has already bowled well at those in this series. Natarajan can do it. Bhuvneshwar Kumar can do it to a lesser extent. England have had a little bit of joy with those.
Last ball of this over. Surya Kumar goes across his stumps. It'll be interesting. That shouldn't be called a wide, because it would have thudded into him had he stayed where it was, and it hasn't been called a wide. It bounced just kind of 4th stump. It would have clipped a stump that would have been just by leg stump. So Surya Kumar foxes himself with that last ball of the over, and that brings that over to a close. A slightly better end than a beginning than Ben Stokes.
Suman Nagy is saying the game's a wrap, guys. Series India, Panchuraj and Hardik still to come. They're 2 waiting to unleash Yorkers. Neymar has got a jigsaw on the go, and he says he wonders if he can finish it before the win.
How many pieces? How many pieces in the jigsaw?
I'm not counting them. Josie Oak says we're doomed.
Well, that might be maybe. Adil Rashid's 4th over is going to have to wait. It's going to be Chris Jordan who's going to replace him.
Chris Jordan's back will make him.
Interesting to use Jordan's 2nd over in the 12th over. He does usually bowl at the death.
If they don't stay, it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the Windies team.
Slower ball just outside off stump, and Kohli flamingos this through mid-wicket. Lovely wristy finish. And Sam Curran can't get there this time, and that's gone for 4.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary.
Gorgeous placement from Kohli. Read the slower ball perfectly, read the length perfectly, picked the gap between deep mid-wicket and long on. Beautiful shot.
Very happy Kohli.
Sorry, Nestle boy.
As I say, he's a very happy Kohli today.
Well, in the midst of it all is, I'm surprised he's as tall as it is, because he has the most supreme case of little man syndrome I've ever met in my life. As he dabs that ball down towards 3rd man, there is a short 3rd man inside the circle, but Kohli's still able to take the single. And India will move to 119 for 1. Yeah, his attitude is someone who should be like 4'6".
He isn't a very tall man. He's only about 5'8", 5'9" or so. You see him off field, and he's very relaxed and smiley and happy, but he's the most incredible case of white line fever.
I think he's a competitor, isn't he? He's intense, I mean, I think Morgan is very, very intense and I wouldn't like to get the wrong side of him.
No.
As Surya Kumar shifts slightly across his stumps and drives the Yorker, the full toss Yorker by Jordan through mid-wicket, and they'll come back for 2. Good running by Surya Kumar and Kohli there.
Morgan has incredibly intense, terrifying eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it's man management of a type. It doesn't work for everybody. I mean, as I'm sure you know, Al, being a consultant in that area, I think, aren't you?
There's a lot to like about the idea of the culture that they've created, but the problem about the culture that they create is that results, this old idea that you don't need to be a nice guy in order to be a good captain, all that type of stuff, that's really quite true. But that once the results start to come apart, as Surya Kumar goes down on one knee and beats a short square leg, I think Adil Rashid wasn't able to stop that ball, short square leg, and Surya Kumar's hit that for another 4.
I mean, yeah, nicely placed from Surya, walking across outside off stump, pretty off stump really. That would have
should have been stopped. Really,
yeah, I was just about to say, Adil Rashid dived over it. Jordan's a little bit unlucky there. There's not a great deal wrong with the delivery. Sort of cross seam, ran his fingers over the back of the ball, and Jordan, I think, has a right to be a little bit annoyed that Rashid dived over the top of the ball.
What I was going to say is the moment that. With Morgan's style, the moment that the results start to ebb away, he'll be instantly fired. As Surya Kumar plays the same shot again, but this time lifts it over Adil Rashid and over the boundary. Sponge, I think. Oh, 1 bounce. Sorry, 4 runs.
One, 2, 3, 4.
Surya saw Jordan coming, the slow ball into the pitch. Fair enough delivery in isolation, but Surya read that perfectly and made it into a long hop, really, and made it into a very hittable delivery. He's got lovely wrists. Surya just flicked it up and over the man at short fine.
Do you think that Morgan will carry on after the T20 World Cup?
I think Morgan's got enough credit in the bank that he'll go on as long as he wants to.
Up until the moment that the results start to fade away.
But the thing is, though, he's got England to a World T20 final. He's won them the 50 over World Cup, and I think England are probably favourites for this World Cup. I think the results would have to go pretty spectacularly wrong for him to stop losing faith. What a shot!
Yorker lengths delivery, and Surya Kumar essentially just lets the ball hit the bat and guides it between backward point and a short third man, bisecting them brilliantly and brilliantly timed. Kohli's not hanging about, he's 30 off 25, but Surya Kumar's caught him up already. He's 31 off 13, I think. Brilliantly timed shot, brilliantly united.
He's basically played a forward defensive block to a Yorker and just opened his hands, and it's screamed through the gap for... Kohli is, 30 off 25 is pretty stodgy as the T20 innings goes, only scoring at 7 runs and over. But it just hasn't mattered at all because of the way that Rohit and Surya had batted.
It's been the perfect innings within the context of how his two teammates have batted.
I think that's a little bit generous in a sense. I think he's basically not really tried to stretch himself, and he hasn't had to because of how the other two have played.
And also, if it is that Surya Kumar's seeing it the way that he's seeing it, then you want him to see as much strike as possible. So
I don't deny that. Like I will say, Kohli is rotating the strike well. He's not eating up deliveries.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be Ben Stokes to continue. He will bowl his third over as Kohli comes down the track and hits him hard and over deep mid-wicket, and that's gone all the way for 6.
2, 4, 6.
Yeah. And at the moment, England don't know where to bowl, they don't know who to bowl, and it doesn't really matter.
They don't know who to bowl, what they should be bowling, what pace they should be bowling, what line they should be bowling, what length they should be bowling, or to what field. This is quite brutal from India.
Yeah. And to be perfectly honest, in the context of T20 cricket, you can just have days where this happens to you. You don't really have to do a lot wrong for it to be 139 for 1 off 12.1 overs. It's not like most of the bowling's been horrible. That is horrible, though, right down the leg side. Would have been a wide in any form of cricket. Kohli does well to get a bat on it down to deep square leg, and he'll take a single. He's 36 off 26 and there's 7 off the over so far.
Rudar Kathari says, would England be able to chase 220-230, you reckon?
They've got the horses. They need to start like Rohit provided, that that Roy and Butler can do what Rohit Sharma can do.
Well, you've got Joss Butler, you've got Owen Morgan. There's plenty in there to say that England can chase this down for sure. But it could set up an absolute humdinger of a game.
Usually, though, what happens with big scores is that the pressure on the team batting second is all-consuming. But we'll see how we go. As after a small delay, Ben Stokes will bowl the third ball of the over. That is down the leg side, but Kohli can't whip it through the leg side. Oh, sorry, Surya Kumar can't whip it through the leg side, and so there'll be a leg bye taken.
John Orth has joined us from a sunny day in Madrid, and he says we're going to be really up against it, aren't we? But hope springs eternal.
Have a change, I think, at the end of
certainly is.
This
certainly should be
over. Yes, I'll have a change, and then to take you through the last 7 overs will be Andy Ward, Jack Hope, and Al Hotchkiss.
Yes. India 141 for 1 halfway through the 13th over. If Andy can't get them to 200, no one can, as that is on middle stump and has been flicked away. Leaps backward square leg will do the work, and that will bring Surya Kumar back on. And to be perfectly honest, I really wouldn't want to get Virat Kohli out at the moment with the threat of Rishabh Pant coming in at number 4.
Or Hardik Pandya, yes.
Yeah, you know. Be interesting to caddy those guys playing a game of golf, Nestle boy. What do you reckon? They could hit that ball a fair way, don't you think?
Well, quite a lot of cricketers do play golf, don't they?
Certainly is, and that's a reverse hit by Surya Kumar, but it's back of a length and it kind of cramps him for room and he's not able to get the ball through the circle, and there'll be no run. Sorry, Nestle, you were halfway through a tweet, mate.
No, I was going to say, Neymar just says they completed a 1,000-piece puzzle for Christmas of Tower Bridge in a week. Now we're doing one of a French street, and it's completely foxiness. It's 1,000 pieces too. There you go. It's
1,000 pieces
in years.
It's 1,000 pieces, give or take a few. I'll be putting in more in a week or two. My partner and I did a 500-piece jigsaw of a Christmas of a snowy scene of Santa building a snowman.
Last ball of the over, and that's a swing and a miss by Surya Kumar. He's maybe moving around the crease a little bit too much. If he stays where he is, if he just plays his normal shots, he'll be fine. As Andy will explain to you over the course of the next 7 overs, as Andy will
resistance
be the person to take us through.
Well, it comes on to the first thing I was going to say. England can't just throw their hands up and say, oh, well, we're going for a load of runs here, because, you know, India could get 10 and over 210, which is gettable, or they could get 12 and over 14 and over 235, which I would suggest would not. So you've still got to do your best, and you've still got to not give freebies, not give wides, not give no balls, not give full tosses, Jack.
Oh yeah, that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? I think probably on top of that, they've got to find a way to dry up the boundaries a little bit. It's been too easy, particularly for Sky, to find the rope. And some of that's, I think, the England bowlers projecting where they're going to bowl the ball. But maybe more generally, they need to look at where they want him to hit it,
rather than him dictating that. Well, it is going to be a change of bowling, I think, and it's clipped into the deep leg side field. Is that 1 or 2? It looks like a comfortable 1.
It is, yeah. And also, like, maybe, I think the other thing that's sort of looming for England here is that Virat Kohli in the last 5-6 overs of an innings is about the best in the world.
Yes, when he's had 12 overs, certainly. Jingle up the bowler.
And a retreat on the 45. And a retreat on the 45. And a retreat on the 45. And a retreat on the 45.
Down the track comes Surya Kumar. He's put it in the gap. Oh, I think that's 6. Okay, Chris Jordan was running around, grabbed it with one hand, threw it off to his partner. he was very close to the rope. It was such a nonchalant, one-handed grab and flick. Obviously, yes, soft signal is out from 100 yards away.
This might be one of the best bits of... Just don the cape, Chris Jordan. Don the cape.
To tell you what happened, Surakumar just swung it into Cal corner. It looked for all money as if he'd found the gap perfectly. Jordan sprinting round, caught with his right hand. Step, throws it off. He's comfortably inside the boundary. And if anything, it looked even more nonchalant in slow motion. And the catcher, I think is David Milan, is just throwing his head back and roaring with laughter at how easy Chris Jordan made that look. And it is out.
That should be worth 2 wickets.
Goodness me. Hatches. Oh, Jason Roy, in fact.
Jason Roy getting credit for something he knows.
Jason Roy, catch of the series.
That might be one of the best pieces of fielding, I've ever seen. I think because he's running full speed. It's not just the one-handedness or the awareness of the boundary. It's the fact that he's doing this probably like 20 miles an hour.
It's absolutely full pelt, and that's what foxed me. Commenting on it live, it just looked so easy, and yet even most international cricketers would have found that extremely difficult. And Chris Jordan made it look like shelling peas. Anyway, change of India's batting order, not surprisingly.
And in breaking news, Hardik Pandya.
Get that. I don't know what's in that drink, but I need some of it.
He's having a little smile with Moeen Ali there. Moeen's telling him to do. Obviously, he should have done something better on that last ball. That's the message from the dugout. Up it goes. We're having another look at. Gosh, was that in real time? Yes, in real time. The
camera can't even follow him.
Extraordinarily quick in real time. Rashid, who has also got credit for the wicket in much the same way as Jason Roy got credit for the catch. Chris Jordan's name not on the scorecard. He did all the work. That one's clipped out for a single to Jason Roy. Here we are again. Jordan's shelling peas, picking an apple off a tree. Just lobs it off to Jason Roy, who I love his reaction. He's just howling with laughter.
The undersold thing about it is how accurate is the little toss to Jason Roy as well.
Sure.
I mean, it's difficult enough to do that. It's just
the word to describe that from start to finish.
And
we're rightly getting about 15 looks in. I feel sorry for you. I don't have a picture of this. I'm sure you'll see it. Even if you don't have Sky, this will pop up on YouTube or something. Please do take a look if you can.
And Jason Roy will sit forever and go, do you remember that catch that I took in that one?
Hardik's gone for a quick single off his first ball to get through, and Rashid not too happy with that. But, of course, all the fielders are back on the edge of the circle at this point. Anyway, we take a breath after that. I think good move from India to put Hardik up the order.
You reckon?
I think so.
100%, yeah.
Hardik rather than Rashad?
Yeah. In T20 cricket, yeah.
Tossed up by Rashid and flipped into the leg side by Kohli, who's still there watching all this happen. That'll be an easy single.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they're really good options either way, aren't they, Jack?
Yeah, I think the difference here is that Hardik has basically got more power.
Yes.
Pant is a more fluent, more dynamic batter, has more shots, can score probably off more balls, but when Hardik hits it, it will go for 6.
Rashid completes his spell. It's a little paddle sweep from Hardik. Sent back. You look at the scorecard there, 4 singles and a wicket. Uneventful over, you might think.
Absolutely.
In some ways it was, but it was a very good over from Adil Rashid. He's bowled out now 4 overs, 1 for 31, which can look very good in the context of this innings, I think.
So, messages. Strong competition for the position of supreme champion of little man syndrome. Only one man with small hands is a legitimate claim to being the greatest of all time, everybody says. Warren thinks there have been words within the bubbles about how long it took to play the last game. Maybe.
Well, England were fined 20% of their match fee for what difference that would make.
Yeah. Neymar Butlins, Morgan could work in business management. He can tell everyone he's used to wearing multiple hats.
Exactly, at the same time, yeah.
Farong, greetings from Dakar, finally made it through the traffic. India looking at 230 plus as a minimum.
Well, they said that should be their target. Jordan, after all, that's going to come in a bowl. And goodness me, I think that's just helped on his way by Kohli. May have hurried him just a little bit. The ball got up a bit. He almost tennis shotted it down to long leg for a single.
It is Archer as well, by the way, not Jordan.
Ah, thank you. Yep.
It does look like Virat's been hit on the head, although it's out the back of the hand. Yes. It's a slower ball, so hopefully...
No, I think he just periscoped his bat up in front of his helmet. I initially thought he'd been hit on the head, yes. But it is Jofra Archer, 2 overs for 20 to date. And Mark Wood's bowled 2 overs for 28. So the pace has been going the distance today. Interesting to see if they complete their 4 overs. 6 to go. England with Stokes and Curran do have plenty of options. Here comes Archer. Steps across and flipped into the leg side by Hardick. Out to deep square. Should be 2 there. No, just the 1. Fielders in quickly.
So what England will be trying to do here, Hardick over the 5 matches, they've had a clear plan to sort of dig the ball in at his ribs. I think they've gone to that immediately, knowing that sort of 6 overs of Hardick Pandya basically makes this game unwinnable.
If he's on top form, yes, and we're just seeing some Suryakumar Yadav shots, and an innings that might get lost in this game, but 32 off 17 is an excellent contribution as Archer comes in again. Slower ball again, pushed into the offside, will be a single. And India 149 for 2 with 33 balls to go in this innings, and if England could keep them around 200, they would consider that a bonus.
It's an interesting application of the craft from Jofra Archer, because we just associate the fact that he comes in and he bowls really quick and he gets people out. But the idea that, okay, maybe slightly back of a length, slower delivery,
that's another one. It's just clipped into the leg side. Again into the deep. Will they take 1? Will they take 2? Bairstow with the fielding. Looks just like 1.
Yeah, let's not run 2 to Chris Jordan. I think that might be the thought process from the batsman there.
And England do seem to have their quickest fielders out of the deep there on the leg side. Roy, Bairstow, Jordan. Makes sense. Again, it might not be the biggest of grounds, so maybe there won't be too many 2s out there. Kohli on 43 off 33, and Hardick is on 3. As Kohli comes down the track, bashes it past cover. Is that going to beat the sweeper as well? Not quite. Good diving stop out there by Darwin Milan. They get at least 2, maybe back for 3 there. Yes, they are.
It's a nice piece of fielding from Milan.
Some good work.
Yeah, I thought that was going to beat him, actually, so he did get out there and save a run. Interesting thing about Kohli, Al, you were saying he wasn't taking up much strike, and indeed he isn't. He's only faced 33 balls and coming up 15 overs.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit over 2 balls per over, so he's done that very well. While Suryakumar and Rohit were scoring quicker than he was, he's given them a strike, basically.
Yeah, it's been... Because sometimes the person who should be rotating the strike is the person who's finding it difficult to find the gap between fielders, and he's done that very well.
Certainly at lower levels. Archer again, it's up over the keeper's head. 1 bounce straight behind him, and that's a ramp for 4. End of the over, 157 for 2, 5 to go.
There's not 1 boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
So let's have a look at what we've got. Warren, Al, it seems like the Sabres are the picture to the Bills' Dorian Gray. No, come on, you've got to be fair. And good luck, Warren, with Mitchell Trubisky as your new backup quarterback. Slightly annoyed philosopher, is it in the spirit of the game to pluck magic balls from thin air?
Would have been frowned upon back in the day, I'm sure.
Mayank says Roy should have fake juggled it until Jordan was back in the group and then thrown it back to him. So unfair that Jordan will get no credit.
Well, on the scorecard, but I think he gets all the credit from everyone who sees it.
And Venkatesh says that maybe catch assists should be made a mainstream stat.
AB, yeah.
And
assist and a half, that one.
Well, yeah.
Well, England are going back to Mark Wood.
And I think this will be about Mark Pandya.
Wood? Yes, he is an England bowler, quite good. and pretty quick. So just a normal guy. Of course. Except for just one thing. What? He thinks that he's a horse.
Right. What?
Well, England, yes, possibly going for the match-up against Hardick, although Coley is initially on strike. It's going to be Mark Wood. And Coley's down the track, I guess a little bit high on him. He can just prod it into the leg side, but he has taken the pace off that one. It will be 2. We were on the other day, and Gary was in full dubious point with hyperbolic conviction mode.
Gary?
Yeah.
Gary?
And, he was rather sceptical of match-up bowling changes.
Yeah, I think Gary probably needs to do a little bit of reading then.
It's only been part of baseball for what, 120 years?
You're on the you're on the cricket pod, Jack. Is that right?
It is. Yeah.
Is that the one where Dan Weston goes on?
It is.
Yeah, well, Dan's excellent. That one's tipped into the leg side, and he's going to come back for 2 again, take the pace off nicely into the gap, and 2 more for Coley. And that is his 50 of 36 balls. I'll come on to Dan in a second.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
So Dan Weston is consultant for the Birmingham whatever they are in the competition.
Phoenix, yeah.
The competition that dare not speak its name.
And Leicestershire, if you're old school.
Yep. And if you are covering T20 cricket in any capacity, I would thoroughly recommend his ebook. I think it's £25. A lot of tremendous stuff in there, which I won't spoil because it is paid content. But it'll take your understanding of T20 to a new level. Anyway, Coley with those 2 2s is on to 50. He's going to try the same trick again. No, just the square leg's been brought up to put an end to those shenanigans, and it's just a single.
Strategies for success in the IPL.
Yes.
It's for cricket nerds, for people who, as you say, really want to know how T20 works. The other one, as Knuckles just said, is Tim Wigmore and Freddie Wilde's Cricket 2.0, although that's a little bit more of a history of T20 in a sense. It goes into sort of stats and matchups and so on. I don't know if it's as game focused as Dan's.
No, it's probably not as heavy on the numbers, but it does have an excellent chapter that you may well have read on various websites about the difference between RCB and Mumbai Indians.
Yeah, I actually would.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure I agree with everything in that particular chapter, but that's probably a debate for the IPL, I imagine.
Yes, Mark Wood. Well, England have stemmed the boundaries so far this over, and till that, just a big flash, top edge off the horizontal bat, flashes through / over Joss Butler, probably over. I've already done him a disservice once today, and it's 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's have a look at this. It's Hardick, top edge. Everyone's following the ball except the cameraman. Just goes over his right shoulder. Yes, well over Joss Butler's head.
Unlucky for Wood, because that's exactly what he's trying to do. One of those for a bowler that's very frustrating.
Yep, it's a bit of a thankless day for bowlers today, I think, but England will have to make sure that is also the case for the Indian bowlers. Wood, 9 off the first 4 bowls in this over. That one, there might be a chance. Is there a fielder out there out towards deep extra cover? No, it's in the gap. Batted back by the fielder, but Ben Stokes, but not back into play, and it will be 4 more.
I'm not sure there was anyone coming to help Ben Stokes there, to be honest. I know he was trying to swipe the ball away from the boundary. I'm not sure if anyone was going to come and relay the ball back into
bit of an air shot.
He just didn't get enough of a paw on it, and just flipped his finger and dribbles into the boundary. Nothing he can do about that. So we were just saying that England had stemmed the boundaries, and then 2 4s from Hardick, showing his worth. Can Mark Wood get out of this over without any further damage? Extra cover and mid-off are up. It's a length ball which is punched into that area, But straight to 2 hats, Morgan. No run. 170 for 2, 4 overs left. We're arrowing in on that 215, 220, I think.
Let me see here. Slightly annoyed philosopher. By the way, your in-match jingle makers should definitely get a definite pay rise. Absolute class.
They should get what's the?
I think we giving them a percentage pay rise on what we usually pay them.
100%. Let's give them 200%.
Andy showing that he's never been in charge of performance management in any part of his life.
I've never been a manager. Never wanted to be.
Really? Corner
that's true. It's a good view. What's interesting today, I think, looking at Hardik Pandya's innings and probably Rohit's as well, is that they're the 2 Indian batters who you would say probably struggle with extreme pace the most. Which sounds odd when you talk about Rohit Sharma, but it's statistically borne out. Both of them today, though, have been able to just hit through the line of both Archer and Wood, which suggests really to me that this is a really good batting wicket.
I think so, yes. I think so. Can't tell till both sides are batted. That is one old saying that does still ring true, I think.
So Jack, if you're thinking ahead to the first couple of overs of England's innings, who would you open the bowling with?
Probably go with spin, I think, early.
Washington has opened the bowling in the IPL.
Yeah, I think Washington
maybe Kumar at one end and Kumar at one end and then Washington at the other.
I think you'd want Bhuvi with the ball at one end because he has been able to get a little bit of swing, particularly in that first over in this 5-match series. And you don't want to miss out on that opportunity entirely. But then I'd go spin from the other. Yeah.
Change of bowling. It's hit on the pad. It's not again. Look, I've seen a few of those today. Snaking down the leg side would just be a leg bye.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry. More England caps will soon draw nigh. Or if they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the windy team.
Yeah, no danger
slightly
there.
Slightly lucky to not get dispatched there. Kind of an in-between length.
Slot ball into the pads, yes.
Stump, yeah.
I think that's what Kohli is gesturing. Maybe a bit annoyed with himself that time. England, of course, with their extra bowler, have 5 options for these 4 overs. Everybody except Dil Rashid. As Jordan comes in again, he's got one more after this one if he needs. And that's flicked up into the leg side. This should be a catching opportunity. Oh, it's just fallen in front of Jason Roy. I felt he went round that one a little bit. We'll have another look. But it's into the open spaces for 2. Bit of a tennis shot from Hardik because the ball got up on him.
So misleading to be able to see it until you see the shot that includes the fielder. Yeah,
he can't really get to that. No. Yeah. That's the one where if the ball goes over the fielder's head, everybody says he should have been on the line, or maybe for that one he should have been 5 yards in. By the same logic. And that's clubbed through the offside. Lovely shot, straight between cover and extra cover. They were on the edge of the circle, only 10 yards apart, barely moved. That's 4 more.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Has Jordan got the pace to bowl this length at Hardik?
It's the inside-out forehand, isn't it? To use the tennis analogy, it's kind of carved away, and it's like followed the path of it. Kim cutting his wrists away from the ball. It's a beautiful shot from Hardik.
Yes, it almost has that same angle where you just put it past the man at the net into the corner. Jordan up against it here. Length ball, which I think he's rather got away with, or has Hardik put it in the gap? No, Jason Roy's round should be, just the one good bit of fielding. And, as I said before, England should still be fighting hard for every run, every single run. Because it might come down to that in the end.
There's a note about Kohli not scoring very quickly, but I've lost my train of thought. So that was a
derailed. Kohli's back on strike, 51 of 38, drives it past the bowler. There should be someone at long off. Indeed, there is, just a single.
I think where I was going to go is 220 on this wicket will be chaseable. I think it will probably be about 20 runs above par. I think around 10 and over is probably that par. But I don't think England, as you're saying, Andy, are out of this game, even as this score starts to look a little bit mammoth.
Okay, sorry, shouldn't be checking my email.
You're absolutely right, Jack. that you can let the game get away from you at this point.
Okay, good square cut from Hardik. The fielder is round. They will get another 2. And in it goes to Butler. Hardik, 24 off 12, doing exactly what he was sent in to do. That's the end of the over. 181 for 2 with 3 overs left.
So, Warren thinks that this might be already enough runs already. The Jersey Jingler says, here, mind you, 20% of nothing is still nothing in terms of... Andy wanted to give 200%. None of this 20% malarkey, it was 200%. Leah, Dick status, heart. Yes, that's a penis joke. To whoever is offended by that, get over it. I don't quite understand it anyway, Leah, but then again, a lot goes over my head. Neymar Butlins says that we should that there's a group of people, a far right group in the United States who know how to destroy Washington. Maybe we should send those out there. Probably not.
Yeah, I think far right humour is probably.
But that's what the BBC want.
Yeah, I guess
Don't
so.
start
Yeah.
me off.
Yeah.
Don't start me off. This business with the flags. I mean, of course you laugh at that guy. He looks ridiculous. He looked like he was in North Korea. So you laugh at him, and then everyone's going, "Oh, they're disrespecting the flag." Fucking idiots. Right, Kohli on 52 off 39. Hardik 24 off 12. Rishabh Pant having a bit of a teapot sulk. He's not getting a bat today. Mark Woods back in, swung away by Kohli. 1 bounce out to the fielder Sam Curran. Just be a single.
I think Mark Wood bowl his 4th over. I know that we talked about matchups with Hardik, but given how his first 3 overs have gone, do you think that this is a bit captaincy by numbers by Owen Morgan?
Yeah, well, that's what the point Gary was actually making the other day. That sometimes you should just pay a bit more attention to what's happening in front of you. Seem to be on a little delay at the moment.
I'd probably say that you should follow what the data suggests you should do, unless there's overwhelming evidence that you should change that. Who would be your alternative bowler, Al, is what I'd ask.
Down to third man. That goes a difficult one for Adil Rashid, who's had a tough time in the field today. And he can't quite get there. He does well to stop for 4, and it'll just be a single. Carved away down to third man. That was actually a nasty one for Rashid to deal with.
I don't know whether that's going to be a really difficult drop or a really brilliant stop of 3 runs. It might be both.
I thought it was a half volley.
He may just have got a finger on that, but Adil Rashid is 36 now. England are trying their best to put him out of the way, understandably, but there's no hiding place in T20. Wood comes in again, going for the reverse. Has he hit that straight to Josh Butler? No, I think he just missed it.
I think he got a little bit of an under edge. Possibly, slower ball from Wood. So deceiving Kohli there. Well bowled.
Kohli premeditating going for the reverse lap there, and yes, he's just brushed it back towards Josh Butler on the half volley.
But it's been that sort of innings where things have dropped just in front of fielders and things like that on other days Jordan's miraculous fielding notwithstanding, that sometimes you just get days where things bounce in front of you like that.
Yes, and here comes Mark Wood again. Swung away. Is that into the gap? It certainly is. No chance for Ben Stokes to get there, and that's going to be another 4. Swung away down to long leg.
My name is Lakhan.
Kohli needed that. He's playing an innings that could leave India a little bit vulnerable to England's batting lineup here. What is he? 47 off 57 or 46 or 43. It's not snail pace, but given everyone else has been going ballistic, which is what Knackle was messaging about a moment ago, it does look a little bit out of place.
Well, possibly. He should be set by now. He comes down the track, pulls it away into the gap. That's going to be 4 more. And he's certainly trying to make up that strike rate now. 191 for 2. 13 balls left in the innings. Yeah. England might feel they can almost get away with 215. Strange as that sounds.
They will feel a bit like that. I still think 200 is probably about right, but it did look like it could be 250 about 5 overs ago.
At one point, certainly not Mark Wood's best day, and again, it looks like Sam Curran's going to be the odd man out, only bowling 1 over. Two more to go. I'm sure we'll see Chris Jordan with one of them, and then it's going to be Archer or Curran with the other, or maybe Stokes. Although I wouldn't bowl Stokes, I don't think.
Well, there are only 2 overs, so just Archer and Jordan will do it.
Archer and another one.
Wood into the pads. He's going to get away with that one for 1, maybe 2. Yep, going to be 2. It's the end of the over. 2 overs to go. 192 for 2.
Let's have a look at what we've got going on.
And certainly you don't want to lose a T20 game having only lost 2 wickets in the first innings, 2 or 3 wickets, or whatever it'll be.
Is this an efficient use of India's batting resources? Particularly Kohli here, 60 off 40.
Might be the question
you have to ask, I think.
Yeah. Everybody else has been, all the 3 batsmen have been just a shade under 2 runs a ball. Kohli a shade under 150 strike rate, with Pant, Shreyas, Sundar and Thakur to come. Well, he's certainly trying. We saw him trying to improvise in that last over.
Yeah, no, he is genuinely brilliant at this stage of the game. And again, the data will back that up. He's in the sort of top 5 death hitters. Usually, or partly possibly because he's there after facing sort of 30 or 40 balls most of the time, whereas some guys come in and have to go from ball 1. But he's got the capacity to really do some damage to England, I think.
Okay, here comes Jordan. Into the legs, scooped away, should be 6. Easy as you like, over long leg.
Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
For all the talk of matchups and things like that, and tactics and who bowls what over, don't bowl there.
Don't give freebies. No,
don't bowl there. You know, I mean, what part of plan is that?
That's about the worst possible place to bowl, I think, isn't it? In any format of cricket, that's
most cricket. I mean, if you miss it, it's wide. So
I hate to sound. I'm trying to think about who there used to be a famous old comedian who used to do one woman acts, and she's doing this thing about she's like a teacher, and she's just like these invisible kids in front. Don't do that.
Joyce Grenfell.
Joyce Grenfell, that's the one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Don't do that.
Chris Jordan, don't do that, indeed. And then a back on the leg side, up with just one sweeper on the off. That's clubbed away over the leg side. It's 6 more. The field was there, it was straight over his head, wide with wicket. And Hardik opening his shoulders.
I've 2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row. 2 6s in a row.
37 or 15 is a stellar innings in a T20 on any kind of surface.
Yeah, he's been good, Hardik, today. These 10 balls, I reckon, are going to take about 15 minutes for England to bowl. They'll talk about, they'll change the field every ball. Morgan will talk with the bowler every ball. So could be here for a while. I reckon.
But they've got to get the ball back first.
Well, that's the other thing.
Will Hardick go for 6 in a row, or will he do the commentator's choice and follow up with a single? It's not going to be 6. He has clubbed it out into the offside, out to the sweeper. In fact, he has done commentator's choice, single after 2 sixes.
I watched the I watched the thing about Pollard with 6 sixes in a row, and it was interesting to watch Angelo Matthews' interaction with the bowler through that over, from giving advice to just when the 5th ball was still in the air, Angelo Matthews just went and just put his hand on his shoulder as if to go, I've got nothing to be able to tell you.
Sven-Göran Eriksson told a story when he was managing in Italy and they were playing Napoli, and Maradona was just on fire for Napoli, and it's 4 or 5-0 or something. As the bowler comes in, he's got away with that one because the batsman stepped away. Jordan won the game with rock, paper, scissors with a wide Yorker towards tramline, and he's got a dot that time. But yeah, the right back who's just been tortured by Maradona goes to the bench and sort of goes, what do I do? And Eriksson just goes, I don't know.
That's why I'm a manager. I'm not a player.
But from a man management perspective, perhaps that's the best thing you can do. Just take your hat off sometimes. Still, England shouldn't be doing that just yet. Kohli isn't Maradona as much as some of his fans might think he is. And that's carved away through the gap between third man and point. The wide Yorker that time, but Kohli didn't step away and just carved it away for 4. And a few long faces in the England outfield. Look what's that. Nicely done by Kohli. He's down so low to that to get that control.
I initially thought that was a little bit edgy, but actually sort of just gone with it, open the face. Perfect placement, basically. A great shot. Right,
so Jordan, it's going to be his last ball. What's he going to be able to do? So Yorker, it's well bowled, and that was out to cover, and it will be a single. End of the over, 211 for 2, 1 over to go. What's the sweep? 225?
Where are we? Was it Archer going to bowl the last over?
I would think so.
219.
225.
That's what I said. We'll split the pot.
Sorry, 224. Sorry, I was...
you've got a Prices Right me instead.
Messages. Crazy to suggest that Kohli is failing in any way with a strike rate of nearly 150 from 44 balls. That's the base which allows the others to achieve their 200 strike rate. You couldn't ask for better.
I think you could, and I would, if I were a very brave Indian analyst.
Yes.
Nobody will
very
say
brave indeed.
You could almost be an ex-Indian analyst if you
soon. I mean, I'm sure you've all read Moneyball and how much resistance they came up with initially from grizzled players, and it's hardly surprising.
They still come up against it now. The common bit of criticism about Billy Beane is that he's not won anything, and Billy Beane's point by way of counterbalance is, well, yeah, but I definitely wouldn't be able to win anything if I used your old traditional thinking. I'm getting to the playoffs.
Absolutely, and he said that was all he could do. Archer comes in, full toss, rather gets away with it as Kohli walked in towards it, up to long on. Yes, he said that he was taking teams with, like, rock-bottom budgets.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
And that the playoffs were basically a lottery anyway, which is not what anybody wants to hear, but it's probably true.
It probably is true. I would contend a little bit with some of the conclusions people draw from Moneyball, because I think there were other factors that really meant that Oakland A's type team weren't like a bunch of bums who had to do it differently. They had 3, so they had Barry Zito, and 2 other guys who pitched sort of 200 innings each for them at like Hall of Fame levels in that Moneyball era.
Yeah.
And that's really what the team was in part based on. They were also...
Lower ball from Archer, it is clubbed up towards the long off for a single, and England will be well happy with that at the moment.
They were also incredibly lucky that the Seattle Mariners didn't win that division that year with one of the greatest baseball teams of all time. I mean, it's a statistical freak that that what happened. I mean, the lessons correct. You should learn them, but I do think sometimes people read a little bit too much into the lessons.
Cool. Kohli surely going to bat through the whole innings. He swung that away from the leg side, and just as I was about to eat my words, it was catchable distance, but in the gap. Has it dropped over the line at square leg? No, we think that's 4. I think that's 4. 217.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Just tried to get that one to stick in the pitch, Archer, but there's not much stick in this pitch, and Kohli was able to just wait for it and hoist it over square leg.
Yeah, Jack, your point about being able to hit through the line. Yeah, it's been borne out by all 20 overs.
Fuller ball, clipped into the leg side. He's looking for the gap. Chris Jordan's already shown us how quick he is out there, and they will pick up 2. But Chris Jordan, Knackle tells us, has an unwanted record. Most runs conceded by a bowler in a bilateral T20 series, 198. Well, he has bowled all the overs in all 5 games in a high-scoring series, so...
Yeah, the economy rate of 10.5 there isn't great, but it's not...
It's not a world record worst.
Yeah, it's not as much of an aberration as I think Tom Curran's might be.
Right. Carved away over point. That one is going to run away. Is it going to... No, fielder's round. Throws it back. Perhaps. No, good bit of fielding, actually, if it kept them to 2. Johnny Bairstow. Yeah, we had...
sounds strange in a score of 221, Andy, that the fielding has been good enough to take 10, 12 runs off the board.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. We had a man from the old school on the other day, Cato Harris, but he did agree with you. He's also not Tom Curran's biggest fan.
Yeah. So was there one ball left here? Where do we all stand for this? For this week?
See, I said 225. You said 224.
I said 219. So
I think we're over that already, are we? Just have a look at Bairstow here, who may have put his back leg on the sponge before he throws the ball away.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it's about whether it's... I don't know if that's a shadow or a movement of the actual thing itself.
We need a proper angle on this. Oh, yes, it
4.
is. Yeah, I think
that's 4.
That is going to be 2 more runs, and like I said, it's easy to throw your hands up, but every run does count.
I don't even know whether I'm looking at that.
It should be a signal of 4. Yes,
yeah,
it is.
There we go.
2 plus 2 is a number.
That makes it 223. So a single for you, Jack, and 2 for me.
All penalty runs.
Minus 4 for me.
Kohli will be eyeing up more than that off the last ball, and he has clothed it down to short third man for a single. Off something. Well, 224 it is. 224 it is. Kohli finishes with 80 off 52. Hardik 39 off 17. That's a powerful total.
It's going to take some getting.
There's some big boy runs there. India batted really well, you have to say. Yes. I think particularly the guys around Kohli. Kohli's 80 or 52 is probably the minimum viable innings in this situation. I do think that England will give themselves a decent chance here, though. I don't think they'll be walking off here too disheartened. They've played enough cricket to know that they're capable of getting to 125 on a wicket like this. And we're actually seeing Morgan doing some visualisation right now to prepare for that.
Yep, Kohli and Hardik getting well-deserved pats on the back and fist bumps. So, are we going to have probably the very brief break, as usual? I'm sure Naka will give you something to listen to in the meantime.
Well, a couple of tweets to go through first.
Oh, please, yeah.
Gillian Price, I think he's done a great job. I think she's talking about Kohli there. Nigel Henderson, not sure who he is. First-time caller, I think. Telling us about the new Universe Joss T-shirt from Guerrilla Cricket. Available at Redbubble. There's a link to follow. Neymar Butlins. We had one of Billy Bean's prodigies in LA in the front office. The problem is that people want to see stars. They won't go and see an obscure players who might be good one day. Or in your case, Neymar, if you're a follower of the Dodgers, the current World Series champions, LA Dodgers. Ravino wanted to know what the score was. 224 for 2.
Yep, 225 the target. We'll be back very soon.
The players' mindset will decide the outcome of the series, because we have won the first test. We have definitely had an edge now, but they will come back strong. So we got to stay focused and make sure that the first time ever we can win a test series outside Zimbabwe.
All the best. You've got your second test coming up in a couple of days. But sticking to the team, because a lot of people, I think, because of what's been happening, have not necessarily been following Zimbabwe cricket. So who are the key players that you have now who are experienced, in your view, to the extent possible, but also who are the players to look out for in the future from your current team? Because the fast bowling was very, very impressive last week.
Yeah, I think if you look at the fast bowler Blessings, I think he's a young guy who can really, take Zimbabwe cricket for a longer time and take the burden on his shoulder, because he's young. He's got good height. He has got 2 years of experience playing in the English county, so that makes a lot of difference. To be very honest, we have been missing a lot of senior guys like Craig Irwin, then Brendan Taylor, Chatara. I think there were a few guys who were really missing because of injuries. So this was a good opportunity for the younger guys. And I always look for guys. I don't say younger guys. I look for guys who are hungry, hungry for success. And if you look at this team, there are a lot of guys who are hungry to perform, hungry to make a name for themselves. And I think cricket is their lifeline, because if they don't play cricket, it's very difficult for them to get a job there. So they have to stay in cricket for their livelihood. So if you want to stay there, you got to work hard. I think the work ethic comes in that as well. So that also we are trying to inculcate that you got to work hard. You don't have to be in a comfort zone, because earlier last few years I have seen that they were in the comfort zone, that they will be playing X number of matches, so that's good. I think no, you got to be hungry to achieve something in life, and that's what we have planned now, because there are 2 World Cups coming up. 2022, the T20 World Cup, and the 2023, the 50 over World Cup. Our all game is that we take one thing at a time. Now we got to focus on this test match. After that, we will be trying to focus on the T20 World Cup. Getting a pool of players. I think T20 requires, lot of athleticism. So we got to try and focus on those players who are really good on the field. They can give a lot of, bring a lot of things on the table as a fielding unit, as a bowling unit, and as a batting unit. Because nowadays you cannot just survive with one unit. You got to have all the 3 skill levels. So that's one area where we are focusing. But the good thing is that Zimbabwe cricket is, providing that thing. They are for it, and they always keep whatever I ask them. So they are ready to, give. In spite of their limited resources, they try to make sure that no, we want Zimbabwe cricket to get back where it was. And when we were young, started following Zimbabwe cricket, they were one of the best fielding type team. They were one of the best, batting wise skill. They had the best bowling. If you look at the World Cup as well in 1983, India were 20 for 5. But luckily,
Kapil Dev, thanks to Kapil Dev.
Thanks to Kapil Dev, we got 175 and we won. And we won against Zimbabwe, but not only that, we won the World Cup also. Yeah. So that shows that how Zimbabwe team was a tough component. So competitive team, but I still feel we are trying to rebuild it. As I said, you cannot change overnight, but it will take time. But it's in the pipeline, and I'm sure in the years to come, Zimbabwe will get back where it was earlier.
Fantastic. Because, I was just going to tell you that I grew up watching the Flower Brothers, Dave Houghton, Duncan Fletcher, Ed O'Brandis, and then you had, the Heath Streaks of this world coming in. So it was very, very impressive teams. But obviously it's a completely different situation you find yourself in terms of a talent pool, right? So I think it's interesting for people to also understand that what is the domestic scene like? What do you go through in trying to find the talent that you need for your international team? And I think it will give a good perspective to people, because, people are used to looking at English county cricket, they're used to looking at India thing, but what do you see in Zimbabwe for a domestic scene?
Yeah, see, as we have in India, we have a lot of teams, like we got 27 teams, first-class team. I was really shocked when I went to Zimbabwe. I said, the first-class setup. So there is a Logan Cup, which is called a first-class 4-day game. And you won't believe there are only 4 teams. So I said 4 teams, that the pool of players are too less. So this year they have added the 5th team. So at least we have got 5 teams so that the players play more. So you got a lot of players to choose from. Because if you have got only limited players, then you're restricted to choose only the same players round and round. So I think this year we have got a lot of opportunities for a younger lot as well. So there are 5 teams. They play amongst each other, say twice, and at least they get some match practice. Because I always keep on saying they have to have match practice. Game behind their back. If a batsman, as a batsman, he has to get behind, runs behind his back so that he's more confident going into a test match or going into a one-day game. So we played this few games like Logan Cup games before this series as well. So it was good that after the lockdown we started off this Logan Cup. But again in January, Zimbabwe government came with this thing, stricter norms, and they had to lock down from January 5th to February 5th. So we never had much time to prepare. But it was good that they asked the government that whether we can practice. So we had some practice. So we had to really fight against all odds. Yeah. But I just keep on telling them that please don't give any excuses. Let's get on with the game. Let's play whatever we are getting it. We have to try and practice. And I think the boys have done exceptionally well. And to be very honest, this is a very, very new team, young team. There are only 3 or 4 senior guys. If you look at our batting lineup, there are a lot of young guys.
Sean Williams, yeah.
Yeah, there are only senior guys like Sean Williams, Raza. I can't name anymore. The Regis is the wicket keeper, and then you got young Wesley Medevra, who is from under 19. He's a good kid. The 2 openers are new. But I think overall, if you look at this, the setup, I think we have given opportunity. The guys who have performed in the Logan Cup, and they have been given an opportunity to play in this tournament. So I think performance based, so that players also try to perform in the domestic cricket. And once their performance is recognized, they make it in the national team. So that's how it should be. So it's good. But at the same time, I still feel that they have to play A-team tournament. That's very important. After under 19, the A team would really give them a good perspective before coming to the national team.
And do you have, I know there's been a broadcast deal recently, so, obviously people around the world over the next year, a couple of years, will get to see a lot more Zimbabwe cricket than they've been able to see, which is fantastic for your team, I think.
Exactly, because, if you look at this, nobody knew Zimbabwe, whom they are playing, what are the scores, unless they read newspaper. But TV gives a wider base, and once the TV is there, I think the players also feel that, I'll be watched all around the world, so I can get into different leagues as well, because if I perform, I can get into English leagues, or some T20 leagues, the franchisees. There are a lot of leagues around the world, like say T10 was now in Abu Dhabi, then T20 in Canada. There are Mazanzi Cup or PSL. So I think it opens a wide opportunity for these players. If you perform well, people recognize you, and then you get. And the best part of Indian cricket is why? Because of the IPL, because they rub shoulders with the best players of the world. The same thing, if Zimbabwe players can play in this league, they will be much more exposed, much more experienced, and then maturity comes handy to them. Because if you rub shoulders with the best player, then you improve your game as well. So I'm sure this deal will definitely help the players as well, and hopefully if they perform, they get into these leagues as well.
Fantastic. Let's get to your coaching career. So you alluded to how you started at Zimbabwe. So maybe we could give viewers a slight bit of story on that. You were head coach of Afghanistan, and then they wanted you to play in Kabul, right? And then you came back to India.
Yes, Afghanistan.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
I hope you've had enough time to douse yourself down after that Indian onslaught.
Just briefly, that email I had to deal with is in connection with Hertfordshire over 50s second 11 I'm captain this year. I've got 35-40 players want to play, so I am gearing myself up to have to deal with a few disappointed players. But I just had to deal with a disappointed groundsman who was upset that I hadn't chosen his ground for a game. That's a new one on me.
Well, with that many people, you could have more than one team. Of course, that's actually the plan. Yes, we're going to arrange some friendly games, hopefully. we're going to have some jingles. We're going to have a couple of batsman jingles and a bowler jingle.
Duckworth Lewis loves you. The clouds part for you. Nothing stands in your way when you're a Roy.
There ain't no loss, 'cause we found someone subtler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he...
And it's Bhuvi Kumar who's going to open the bowling, and Roy tries to drive that ball through the covers. Washington Sundar eventually does the fielding, and there'll be no run.
He got Tendulkar from North, a better bat than we thought. He got Bhuvi Kumar's eyes.
We might have an eye off between Kumar and Butler before too long. And he's bowled him! Roy has tried to swing this ball to leg, and, well, he's missed a straight one. And how straight was it? All three stumps are partially out of the ground. England 0 for 1.
Then he waddled away, waddle.
I was thinking about that jingle the other day.
Can I quote the bear?
Go on.
You fucking muppet.
Thank you.
I thought you were going to quote the bear and say that you got under for the fall of the first wicket.
That would have been a quote worth doing, but no, an ugly shot there from Jason Roy. Ooh, we like to create our narratives, but he had a bit of a slow start in the previous game. He was 0 off 7. It may have been just on his mind that he couldn't afford to do that again. And speaking of slow starts,
England's number 3.
Man, yeah.
David.
That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
Darwin Milan, congratulations.
It's quite funny there, Jason Roy just walking off and the man doing the close camera work scampering out of his way, just making sure not to get caught in the crossfire there.
Absolutely. I think Jason Roy's going off to register disappointment at inanimate objects, and, well, the moving ball of Bhuvi Kumar was too much for him, so maybe he needs to only hit stationary things.
I know it was an ugly swipe, but that's not Kumar's fault. It did seem to move in a little bit off the seam.
It moved very quickly out of the hand. Didn't move off the pitch. Nothing's really moved off the pitch all game. Let's not make this...
I'd like to have another look at that one. It's well, anyway, here comes Kumar again.
Well, Milan shifted across his stumps, and I think it's hit him on the pad. It'll be interesting about whether it's bat first.
It probably is a bit
The green
high.
room thinks it's a bit too high. There is a general reluctance to show anybody thinking about a review. It is... Tell you... Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's definitely pitching in line with the stumps. It's probably going on around middle and off. Whether it's maybe just a little bit too high. Maybe we'll see a replay. As that ball moves across Milan.
That one moved.
That one moved.
Yeah.
Probably Kumar rolling his hands over the ball, maybe.
Kohli not out there again? Kohli not out there again?
We should be.
Well, they keep showing Rohit when they were going for the review.
Interesting. Yeah. Let's have another look at this. Now, you might argue whether that's swing or seam, but it has moved in.
It's moved. I thought it moved off out of his hand before anything else. Nevertheless, an ugly ass shot by Jason Roy. This one kind of nips back into David Milan. He tries to play the ball out to the covers. There'll be no run. 0 runs so far. 1 wicket down.
A wicket maiden wasn't how England anticipated starting this chase.
So we're having a just look at the Hawkeye. It is too high, quite considerably too high. Bit more bounce there for Bhuvi Kumar than I gave him credit for.
No, I think you're right, Nestlers.
Oh, I don't think, because Kohli cam. Where's Kohli cam?
Yeah.
Last ball of the over, Milan plays that ball behind square on the offside. But there is a long leg there. He'll do the fielding. England are off the mark, but are 1 run for the loss of Jason Roy.
Leo says, going out on a limb here by saying this, probably not the start England had hoped for.
You have a jeweler's eye for detail here.
Farong says, collapses on after only 2 balls. Can we forgive Hales for bugger all now, please, says Warren.
he has earned the ire of the England captain, and for this he'll never be forgiven. They can talk all they want about bringing him in closer to the fold. There is no way he's going to play for England again.
Well, it's not like he didn't do anything, inconsequential like batter a member of the public to a pulp or anything like that.
No, because he made him angry. And in other news from the other end of the field,
and in breaking news, Hardik Pandya.
One of my favourite jingles. Mine too. I love it. And it will be swatter of balls, Hardik Pandya, and he's got that ball to nip in back to Jos Buttler. A polite appeal more than anything else. To David Malan. And the ball goes for no run as it's fielded in sort of the slip area.
Well, Malan's not going to change his game for anyone. 1 off 5 so far.
Yeah. Well,
Knackle tells us that...
dart across him a little bit. That one's nipped back to him.
Kohli perhaps has a thigh issue, which may not have been helped by batting 20 overs.
Hardik in again, and that is filth down the leg side. Rishabh Pant tries to distract the umpire by appealing for a catch down the leg side. There will be a wide, and England double their total.
Wide.
All we need is another 220 odd of those, and we're home.
England with one spinner who bowled 2 of the first 3 overs. India with 2 spinners holding them back.
What are you trying to say?
It's simply an observation.
What are you trying to say? Hardik in again, and that is a slower ball which Malan pulls away. 2 bounces and a small skip along the field, and England have their first boundary.
It's Nissan Shi. It's Nissan Shi.
Well, I think even maybe not. Some Indian fans will be hoping England don't just subside here, and we have a contest in this deciding game. Maybe not many Indian fans.
I was going to say not all of them. Maybe the ones at the ground, which is 0.
Yeah.
Hardik in again, and that is short, and Malan has pulled that away as well, and I think that one has gone the distance.
Just. That's Shardul Thakur down at the deep long leg, and it didn't clear him by much.
But that's the beauty of this game. It doesn't have to clear you by much at all.
Nope.
And the recurring theme of the Indian innings seems to be being repeated in the English one, which is, for the love of God, don't bowl short.
No. It's just a yard over the fielder.
It's not going to work. So let's have a different tic-tac. Thank you very much. England are 12 for 1, and that is short and pulled away again. And Malan has split the difference between 2 fielders placed for such a shot.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. They've placed the fielder for short. The 2 men in deep are at deep square and deep long leg. So unless there's a bluff going on, that is where he's going to bowl.
Yep. He's managed to manoeuvre that ball between those fielders pretty well. Only one of them even bothered to move. And that was more out of I think I need to go and fetch that from the boundary sponge more than I'm trying to cut that off.
Well, in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing, this doesn't seem like the best plan.
Yes,
over.
I blame myself.
England were 2 for 1 after 8 balls. They've gone to 16 for 1.
After 10. 4-6-4. That's the pace. It's the pace they're going to have to go at. A slightly slower ball, but on leg stump, and Malan turns that ball to leg. And there is a brief cutaway that allows us to see nothing but the back of Hardik Pandya's shirt. But 2 runs are taken, and David Malan will stay on strike. 17 off 9. Jos Buttler playing a role of spectator.
And that can be a little bit disconcerting to an opener when it's 2 overs and you haven't had strike.
Yeah, just that feeling of bat on ball.
Yeah.
Just even for 1, yeah.
And 2 overs can take the best part of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus. in these games. But I'm sure Joss Butler's.
I'm sure he's up to it. Last ball of the over, a shorter length delivery, and has been classified as a wide, I think, on height.
I think on line, actually. Wide. He's called it over the shoulder. That doesn't mean it was a wide for height. No, it was a wide for height. Just a bit leg sidey as well. So
yeah, it was a bit leg sidey. I was going to say it's 6-5, and yeah, the square leg umpire very quick to make the signal.
It's just that was quite funny because the deep square leg fielder also stretched his arms out, but at a slightly different angle that made all the difference.
Hardick comes back with a ball that's wide outside off stump. Maybe this is the area to bowl with regards to David Malan. He swings and misses at that one. And at the end of that over, we've had one really good one and one really profitable one for England, and then 19 for 1 after 2 overs.
Just to go back to that. So I just want to say I love the way the umpire was 9-3 signalling wide, and the fielder was 10-2 signalling what? That's not wide. It's all perfectly understandable.
Dara on YouTube says, "Are you watching Jason Roy?" He is now.
He's not. He's off kicking something.
I don't know if you picked it up earlier, but we had loads of little emojis sent in on GorillaCricket.com Facebook page from Sunil. Lots of little cricketing emojis. You can see them on there if you go there. Twitter has gone a bit quiet at the moment, and I always regret saying that.
And for those of you who are concerned about the health and well-being of the Indian captain, he is on the field. And
hey, Kohli can.
Well, who can? Kohli can. We'll watch Kohli can on Kohli can. It's going to be Bhuvi Kumar is going to continue, and Joss Butler's going to face his first ball. Reintroduced to the rules of cricket, and he just pushes and dribbles that ball to Kohli as if to introduce him to what the ball looks like from a fielding point of view. And there'll be no run.
That was nice of him, wasn't it? Just
yeah, it's just like, this is the ball. Here you go.
I know you've been off a bit. Here, look.
Yeah, Here you go. Here's one for you. It was a horrible hike from Jason Roy. It really was.
He turned round and aimed his bat towards the stumps, and then wisely just tapped the ball away with it instead.
It's they can make the bails light up. They should really have it. There should be like music that's played as well. As Butler tries to come down the track, pushes the ball past Kumar. There's half fits and starts of quick singles, but in the end, everybody stays exactly where it is as the ball just dribbles to mid-on, and there's no run.
Yeah, they should have like whack whack.
Yeah,
like that. We're doing our best with our jingles. It's certainly in New Zealand for a while. They were almost doing live jingles at the grounds for a lot of the 50 over games, because they would play a little song in between the overs, and they would have a little tune when people were out sometimes.
Good length ball, and Butler mistimes it. Only goes as far as Kohli standing at cover, who tries to throw the ball at the stumps, misses the stumps, and Butler is off the mark with a single. And England reached the dizzy heights of 20 for 1.
Jersey Oak said he was quiet because he fell asleep.
Fair enough.
Well, that would be a reason for keeping quiet.
Unless you can sleep tweet, which, from some people's volume, you suspect they can.
Oh, what a beautiful stroke that was by Jason Roy towards a water bottle, saying you can't do that to cricket balls.
And the helmet, no, is he going to? No. I thought he was going to throw his helmet as well.
Wide angle shot of the huge empty stadium, which, as I don't watch a lot of other sport, I'm still getting used to.
That is on middle and leg, and tried to be turned away by Milan through mid-wicket, but you can only find Rowett, who does some fielding, and there is a gentle admonishment from the umpire to Bhuvi Kumar. If you wouldn't mind just not running on the pitch, that would be lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, nice position for India, read the score on the board, and you know, the old scoreboard pressure for England, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's
got to keep going. That is right in Milan's slot, and he does not disappoint. That is figure 1 and figure 2 in the textbook for cover drive, and that's a beautiful ball.
super shatta, super shatta, super shatta, super shatta, super shatta, rocka, super shatta.
That's
lovely shot.
Quite the way you want to play it, right?
Yep, that wouldn't have looked out of place in a test match.
Oh, quite. I mean, you talk about timing, that's just absolutely perfect, isn't it?
It's gone. By the time that someone's gone, it's already hit the boundary spot.
Yeah.
One ball left of this third over, England 24 for 1. And that is guided very fine. It beats Pant by David Milan. And that's going to go for 4 as well. I'm not sure if that's going to be leg buys. We're waiting to see
50-50. May have got a tickle on it.
It's 4 leg buys. Nevertheless, all counts to the total.
And even though those 4 didn't go down to him, he's still 21 off 13. Milan was perhaps helped on his way by some short bowling from Hardik. But, we can't level the usual criticism at him today.
Nope. He seems to be willing to turn around and use his full name, which is current number 1 T20 batsman in the world, David Milan.
Indeed.
We had a sketch in from Dr. Dan Diper of Virat Kohli hitting a 4 in the 18th over against Jordan, which is loved by Hits Cheddar. So there you go. Well
India
done,
going to stick with Hardik, I think.
I think so.
Or are they? They're going to stick with Seam, but it's
going to be spin. It's going to be Washington Sundar.
Oh, shut up before I get.
No, you were talking through what you could see.
Something with like that. So it turns out that you are looking at Washington Sundar.
So we'll take the pace off the ball, and we'll see what Washington Sundar can do.
Yes, and Butler has had 3 balls, but it's not much in 3 overs, 20 minutes.
No, you would want to get...
You want to get really a bit more involved, but sometimes it happens like that.
Yeah. And from England's point of view, if you turn around and said, well, Butler's only going to face 3 balls at the beginning of the innings, then it's like, well, not too happy about that. But 28 for 1, not a bad start.
I'm not sure if I'm a box to Washington Sundar, but the 3 games I didn't see, he's had excellent figures, and the one I did, he's gone 9 for 52. So England will be hoping I have the same effect today.
Well, if you do, I think Washington Sundar is going to pay for you to go to...
Not to watch.
Pay for you to miss cricket on a regular basis.
I'd be happy to do that.
Sundar is in, and that's on Butler's leg stump, and he caresses that ball through mid-wicket, and there'll be a single taken. And England will move to 29 for 1.
I got paid not to work for a while.
Did you?
Gardening leave.
Yeah, well, it's about a year. I was paid not to go in.
How big's your garden?
It wasn't that big, yeah. Yeah, they just kept... Every so often I get an email from HR saying, no, stay there. We haven't made you redundant yet. It's great.
Did they in the end? Did you ever go back?
Yeah, eventually. It was about a year. It was when Test Match Sofa started. And that's why I got on Test Match Sofa.
Yeah.
Sundar is going to change his line of attack to Milan. He's going to come around the wicket. And that is, again, a bit too leg-sidey. Milan's able to easily push that ball towards a regulation square leg.
He just seems to push that ball out the front of his hand. I used to play with a guy who did this all the time. Knackles giving it the sort of carom ball action, but a guy who just bowled the ball, turned both ways, just by like he was opening one of those round door handles. Did very well with it.
Let's see how Sundar does with this next ball, and Butler comes down the track and hits that ball, and one bounce and absolutely thuds into the advertising hoarding, and that is a beautiful, delightful 4.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
Well, we had 20 overs of no demons in the pitch, and so far we've had 3.5 overs of no demons either. And Butler's moved away and hit that ball over extra cover, and that's gone 1 bounce, 4 as well. And England are 38 for 1, and Butler's on 10.
Maybe Kohli feels like he's going to go and sit down again, but good intent from Josh Butler. Good intent from Joss Butler, and England know they can't hang around trying to chase this.
Yeah. Good, positive intentions. Let's see how Sundar responds. He comes around the wicket to Butler, but that is too much on his pads, and Butler turns that ball to deep square leg, and they'll be able to jog through for 2 as Iyer does the fielding.
Specialist fielder today. Still, you can't really complain when you've only lost 2 wickets, 5 and 6. Someone's got to be 5 and 6.
Well, and also, if it's like 150 for 2, then I could complain, but 224 for 2, not much we could have really done.
Batsmen done their jobs,
Absolutely. As Butler repeats the dose, but I think he might have played that too well, and that's only going to be a single, but he'll keep the strike. 13 off 8. England 41 for 4 after 4 overs.
GB is saying that one camera is always assigned to him. That's Kohli, I assume. GB.
Yeah.
Now that I have Nestlers on, why does Bristol Motor Speedway not count in the largest sports stadia list?
Because Speedway doesn't count.
No, it's a NASCAR track.
Oh, that
Bristol
doesn't count either.
Speedway. It's Bristol in Connecticut, I think.
I don't know, Blair.
Yeah, I should have thought that one through. Probably the Bristol Speedway track wasn't actually one of the biggest stadiums in the world, as in Bristol, UK.
Yeah, that certainly wouldn't count in it. If there is one down there, you assume there is.
Remember when Speedway used to be on World of Sport? Now I've got the guys I can talk to about this kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean it's really popular on Sky still. Speedway.
I'm sure it's still, I shouldn't mock. It's a very popular spectator sport.
Absolutely. We're going to have another change in the bowling.
Ivan Major.
I think that's hard to tell with the jingles.
And Sakura is in for his first ball, and that is too short and pulled away by Joss Butler deep into the night and deep into the crowd, if there was one. But unfortunately, it's only going to be broken seats as that one goes for 6.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
Somehow there, the jingle and the pictures were in perfect timing to the lyrics there.
Sometimes that works out.
Certainly does. Sakura in again. Again, back of a length, but this time more on off stump, and Butler will be able to push that ball just as far as the covers, no further than the edge of the circle, and they'll take a single. Something to bear in mind, ladies and gentlemen, was at the end of 6 overs, India were going really well, but 60 for no wicket. With 1 ball and 4 balls left to go, England off 48 for 1 to reach that comparison.
That previous shot's just a tribute to the hand speed of these players. That Joss Butler took a short ball from outside off stump, pulled it almost over long on, which normally you would have to really muscle, but that was just pure hand speed.
Hand speed and bat speed all the way. Fakor is in, and that is too far down the leg side, and Milan has beaten a short fine leg, and that's gone for 4 as well, and England's 50 is up.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The Indian bowlers have really struggled with this left-hand, right-hand combination. The balls to Milan have been really down the leg side, and Milan is taking full advantage.
He is. I mean, I think Virat Kohli as captain is just begging for the power play to end so he can maybe get Rahul Chahar on and try to bring a bit of order to proceedings. But England might have 70 by then. 75.
We might be in that sort of position. 52 for 1, halfway through the 5th over, and Milan guides that ball down to a third man, but a third man is there, and there'll just be a single. Fancy having a third man. I miss our third man, Jim.
Natarajan, we haven't seen anything of him yet. I wonder if he'll bowl this 6th over. After making his Test and ODI debuts, I think this is
his debut in this series. He didn't feature in the tests.
Are you sure? I thought he played. No, he played a Test against Australia. He didn't play against.
No, he didn't. He didn't play in any of the tests against England. There's the slower ball, which Butler waits for and can't beat Kohli at extra cover, and there'll be no run. Just one ball left of this 5th over left to go.
Do we change after this?
I think we've got one more over.
We got one more over.
Yeah.
Chris the Choir.
Yes, we do. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chris the Choir.
6 a.m. He says, me. Is the cricket on? No, not a test. 10 a.m. Is it on yet? Oh no, it's not an ODI. 1 p.m. Has it started yet? Not yet. 5 p.m. How's the cricket? What, it's over? Bloody T20. But today, turn on to find it's 0 for 1 in reply to 224. What the fuck?
That's been skied away by Butler. Now, how far has that gone? It's just dropped short of Washington, I think, is there roaming in the deep. But that was a definite edge by Butler, and that went a long way towards the boundary, and it went very high. So Washington not able to make up all the ground, but it's landed safe. 2 runs from that ball, 55 for 1 after 5 overs.
Almost exactly on track with the run rate, 11 and over. And with Milan, with a start under his belt, 27 off 16, and hope I don't jinx it purely from the point of view of an entertaining game. But
you know
these
what
batsmen.
Why are you saying it? Why are you even thinking
it usually happens. Because it usually happens.
No,
but these batsmen looking ominous, Milan and Butler.
For the next 15 overs, every time he goes to say the words, I hope I don't curse this, can you mute him? Let's see. Oh, it is going to be Natarajan. Andy. Captain Andy.
Yes, and he's got an interesting record of 1 Test match.
Malum Devoratrix Tangarasu Natarajan.
1 Test match, 1 ODI, and this is his 3rd T20 international.
And that first ball is right on Milan's pads, but he can't turn it past the mid-wicket fielder, and there'll be no run.
Now,
we associate Natarajan with the Yorker length delivery.
Just what I was going to say. That's his reputation as a wizard Yorker bowler in the IPL. They're almost a dying art because you get those just a little bit wrong, and they will fly. There is that very small margin of error.
Absolutely. So Natarajan in, left arm bowler, and that has been hit over the top by Milan to a ball that was outside off stump, and that was well timed enough that will roll to the sponge. Milan's in the 30s and England are 59 for 1 with a beautiful 4.
He's very strong there, David Milan. He hasn't even really connected with that properly.
No, he does try to manoeuvre himself to push things through the offside, doesn't he?
They give him that angle to go over extra cover, yes, where often the fielder is short.
So England are right where they need to be in terms of runs. They have lost a wicket with Jason Roy being back in the hutch. But this is going to be a game as Natarajan is in. And that is again just pushed and prodded by Milan, and by the time that Rowett can get to the ball, Butler has already run through for a single and England reached 60.
Cherries and Berries Cricket Podcast say bonkers thinking.
From who? Us? England? India?
Yeah. Any one of those people.
Okay. I guess.
I don't know if there's any bonkers thinking going on at the moment. Is there from anybody?
There's a bit of bonkers batting going on, but I think the batting on both sides has been helped by bowling that hasn't really appreciated the conditions. I think both sides have tried to bowl too short. I think India's accuracy is something to watch in the remaining overs of the game.
Well, I'm sure they'll go to Chahar very soon after the end of the power play.
A fuller length delivery, which Butler tries to be able to get past Hardik Pandya, but he's too good a fielder for that. And he stops the single as Milan scurries back to make his ground. There is going to be a change at the end of this over. I am going to take my leave.
I'll be with you for the next session. I'm going to guess with Knackle and Jack.
Right. I'll be back for the final.
For the denouement. Hopefully an exciting one.
That is wide, and Butler's been able to cut that ball away, but there is a deep cover fielder. And it is a beautifully timed shot for one.
I should have put that away somewhere.
Butler 23. England 61 for one. One ball left in this sixth over, one ball left in this power play.
Well, India have pulled it back a little bit. We were talking about 70 by the end of the power play. Maybe that was a bonkers thinking from me.
Maybe that was the bonkers thinking. I'm glad we've identified that. I would have slept fitfully if I'd not known.
Yes, exactly. Who's that Owen Morgan's talking to?
I don't think he was talking to Jonathan Trott, but I think.
Oh, he looks like Jonathan Trott, though.
A leg stump Yorker, which is pushed away to long on by David Milan. He's 33. He's on strike. Enjoy the rest of the game, everybody. I hope it's a great one.
See you in a bit.
Was that Jonathan Trott, anyone? Is he involved in the England setup?
I believe that he is. Yes, Marcus Droskothic is meant to be part of the coaching staff, but Jonathan Trott has been kept on for this series because Droskothic obviously isn't able to travel, I think, because of COVID things. Yeah, Jonathan Trott has been is one of England's batting coaches.
Not much of a T20 pedigree.
No, certainly Test match and one-day international cricket. Yes, Paul Collingwood's out there as well with the coaching crew. Honours fairly even, really, as far as the at this stage comparison, for as much as that means anything.
Yes, 62 for one, and how do England need now? About 160 off 14 overs, at 11 and a half. Tricky, but not impossible.
Reasonable over that from Nathraj, and the one length ball that Milan deposited, but 7 runs off the over is tidy enough. It looks like it's still going to be seen.
We've got Kohli stomping up and down on Kohli Cam. We will tell you who's bowling as soon as we know. The camera is going just about everywhere else, so it looks like it's going to be Shardul Thakur.
Shardul continuing after going for 14 off that over. He's bowled quite well in this series, Shardul Thakur. A lot of cutters that have worked well.
He's into Milan over the wicket, right arm over. It's going to be a wide down the leg side. Or is it not? They have brushed something. No one, Kohli can't believe it, Milan can't believe it, so it must have gone one way or the other.
It's not been given. Milan looks dumbfounded. No. I wonder if it passed maybe over leg stump as Milan walked sort of outside.
For me, the only way is if it flicked something. But Josh Butler's not happy either, shaking his head. Oh well, just got to get on with the next ball. And Milan trying to do exactly that, just reset, get back into his routine. As here comes Thakur. And that one is again onto leg stump, and Milan just got a bit tucked up, couldn't do anything with it, playing down the pitch.
Bowled those off cutters well to the left-hander Shardul Thakur. He got Ben Stokes and Sam Curran out with it in the last T20. Wasn't quite a... I was seeing this first delivery of the over, and yes, it probably should have been given a wide.
Yeah, there's no reason why not. Ultra edge on wides, what a time to be alive. But yep, didn't seem to touch anything, and it was, well outside leg stump, so that was an odd one. David Milan won't want to let that take his focus away, pushes that one out past point, the fielder is round, and him and the ball and the sponge all collide together with an end result of 4. Shreyas Iyer.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, ended up rather undignified from Shardul Thakur, who's trying to walk away looking all cool with the sunglasses, but he ended up in a heap with his sort of head tucked under his own body and looking through his legs with his arse in the air. as he rather
But
fell
it's
over
good
the ball.
placement from Milan. You can see where he's just angled the bat.
Oh, it was nicely played. Yeah, he timed it very nicely so that I had too much work to do in the end.
Ben Stokes had one of those in the England innings where he just couldn't bat it back. That one is clubbed up towards mid-off, and Hardick is round to keep him to a single. And it's 67 for 1.
Jack David Milan has he has sort of answered the criticism against him in terms of his slow start.
Certainly has today, yeah. This is exactly what England needed.
Yes, they couldn't afford a 15 off 15 today, definitely.
No, that only comes off if you get one of those Rahul Tewatia style miracles, which were...
He only caught up back to acceptable in that innings.
Yeah, people have forgotten about that. We were on comms for that, and it was generally looking like a match-losing innings for the first 25 balls.
No, very much so. Back to Butler, a little bit uppish, 2 bounces to mid-off, and no run. Butler looks at his bat. I don't think that was the answer there.
No, another cutter from Shardul Thakur that Butler didn't quite time on that occasion. I do think that this pitch doesn't give you a lot to work with. I mean, there's very, very low margin for error in terms of where you can put the ball.
Certainly looks like a very good track. Whether it's a 220 track, whether there even is such a thing, unless you've got 50-yard boundaries. But England very much in the game. 67 for 1. 1 ball to go in the 7th over. Butler facing up, 23 off 15. And he clubs that one to extra cover, straight to the fielder again. Again, there's no run. Thakur just 5 off the over. That's a good one from him. 67 for 1 it is.
We've got one tweet in from Leah. Collingwood is such a steal. You get a blocking coach and a dibbly-dobbly coach for the price of 1. I think that's a bit harsh on Collingwood overall. He captained England to the T20 World Cup.
T20 World Cup, and of course, that, as I was saying in the first innings, is precisely the kind of bowler England seem determined not to pick these days.
No, and obviously an exceptional fielder. He's a very good strategist, Paul Collingwood. He knows he's very very adaptable. He was also coach of I think he was captain of the Durham team that got to finals day a few years ago. Remember that spell that Mark Wood bowled at against Yorkshire?
Surprisingly, yes. Yeah, very quick spell.
Stunning. It will be spin after the power play. Man who's replaced Yuzvendra Chahal in the Indian 11 in the last couple of games and did very well the other day.
Maybe you have a dream of bowling the perfect ball, winning the vital game, but when you wake up, you're Rahul Chahal.
So, 67 for 1. 7 overs gone, and I think this might be a key spell. Next 2 or 3 overs from Chahal, and it'll be interesting to see if they bring Washington into bowl with him. That is short, and Milan pulls it down towards deep square. Didn't really get hold of it. Just a single.
Yeah, that should have got out of the stadium, that ball.
Yes, probably, yeah. Well, a sighter for Milan, although of course he is now at the non-striker's end. 39 off 25 for him. Seeing a graphic of England's strike rates, all the top 6 above 135, which is very much where you want to be. But England need more than that today. Butler facing up to Chahal, right arm over, down the track, a bit of turn, doesn't worry Josh Butler, he hits it high, high, high for 6.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lip.
Been a very clear strategy of Josh Butler to come down the track and hit straight off the spinners throughout the series. He did it to Yuzvendra Chahal very well. Yeah, even though on that occasion he got nowhere near the pitch of the ball.
He bailed himself out with his hands, but did extremely well. Nice little bit back of a length, if anything. Rueful applause from Kohli. Cupped hand applause.
I wonder if Chahal actually saw him coming and dragged it a bit shorter. It was a very good adjustment from Butler. He did one of those off Chahal, I think, in the 3rd game, where he got nowhere near the pitch of the ball and went down on both knees and almost played a sort of straight sweep back over the bowler's head for 6.
Sometimes you just got to do something, make sure you hit it. He's down the track again. That one comes off the pad, flies past the wicketkeeper. Good bit of fielding at short third man. It's just a single.
interesting battle between Butler and Rahul Chahar. That was nicely bowled, kind of into the pads as Butler came down the wicket. Yeah, into the toes really as Butler came down the track. That was ridiculous LBW. I don't think actually anyone was appealing for LBW, so I'm not really sure why we're seeing that replay. I've been very impressed.
I suggest cameras show a few more LBW angles when India are bowling. That one turns into the left-hander, and it'll just be a single down towards mid-wicket.
Rahul Chahar has been very impressive in the IPL the last couple of years. I've been wondering for a couple of years why Mumbai haven't bought an elite established spinner, but Chahar has bowled well enough that they haven't needed one.
Exactly, and that's perfect for your franchise if you have someone you've picked up relatively cheaply at an early stage. Of course, a bit of a numbers game, like a lot of these things. You pick a lot of players cheaply and hope one of them comes off. Chahar is now into this weird through the umpire over the wickets, which we saw a bit in the IPL. Gets away with a dot. Couldn't get that one away.
I'd forgotten about the through and over.
Yes, it's quite strange. He is bowling right arm over, but he's starting from the other side and coming in front of the umpire. I've never seen anyone else do that. He's doing it again and turns away, but clubbed away by Butler, and it's gone for 6 over the extra cover into the advertising boards. Whatever Chahar was trying to do there.
Ridiculous, effortless power from Butler.
82 for 1 off 8, and game very much on.
George McPherson saying England need a few more maximums to be hit. A couple or so, or a big over would be ideal. He thinks England will fall short of that target. You know what? I think if Butler hangs around for half of the remaining overs, England will probably be there or thereabouts near the end. Don't you think?
Have a good chance, yeah. And I would just like also say hello to everyone who's with us on YouTube, Crick Tracker, Facebook, Hot Mic, all our various platforms. We're sorry we can't get to all of you all the time, but we're not in the studio, and we'll have to do what we can on our own laptops and facilities. But thank you very much for your continued support.
That over was a perfect illustration of what Butler was talking about before the start of the series, is that he's not looking at the overall strike rate, he's looking at how many boundaries. That was a perfectly good over from Rahul Chahar. He actually beat him in the flight a couple of times. Over's gone for 15.
Hardik is back. Bit of work to do for make up for 18 in the first over. That was just a bit strange because it was just prodded up to mid-off. Neither batsman nor fielder seemed to move for a moment. They ended up jogging through for a single.
Good slower ball from Hardik. It dipped a little bit on Milan to become a Yorker when he was expecting it to be a full toss.
Eventful day for Hardik. 37 off 15 with the bat. Possibly a couple more than that, actually. And then an over for 18 so far. But he's that kind of player. All the action.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's now able to bowl as many overs as you want him to. He'd be in the team as a batter alone because of his phenomenal death hitting. But it's a hell of a second string.
Here he is again. Length ball clipped into the leg side. They might look for 2 here. I think a clear call of no. Just be a single.
Jingle up Hardik Pandya.
And in breaking news, Hardik Pandya.
84 for 1. India, for what it's worth, were 88 for 0. Same stage. After Rohit got them off to a very quick start, 64 at almost a strike rate of 200. In fact, everyone in the India team is striking around 200, except, as we said, Kohli. But he was certainly good enough. Hardik's in again. Beats the batsman, beats Rishabh Pant, who just drops it with his iron gloves. But I don't think there was any edge on there.
That swung after it passed the bat. It was an odd one. And Rishabh Pant reverting to Rishabh Pant of early 2019 and just failing to catch the ball. His keeping was excellent during the Test series and in Australia. That was a bit of a clanger.
Keeping in T20s, I can understand why it's difficult to look really smooth. You're always thinking about having to run up to the stumps and buys and leg buys and wides, and everything's always happening, so it can be hard to keep your cool, I'm sure. Hardick's into Milan, 41 of 28. That's going to be a wide. Free hit for Milan. He missed it. Doesn't matter. An extra ball. Wide. Again, an indication that he's bowling the short ball into the body of Milan. That was too far down the leg side.
Well, Milan does take on the pull and hook almost compulsively. There's 4 men back on the leg side. I just don't know that this pitch has enough in it to bowl short.
Nope. And you've really got to really try to get some venom into it. That one is pitched up and Milan bunts it up the field, but of course with everyone back on the leg side, everyone was up on the off. That's the downside. And when it beat mid-on, it was 4.
Yeah, it's a bit of a free hit to that field. I know it went over the non-striker's head, but he didn't have to hit it anywhere near as well as he did to get 4.
No, and that was either an ill-advised bluff or not bowling to your field. So Milan, 45 off 29. Hardick's in again, same field. That's a Yorker outside off stump. It's squirted away by Milan. The sweeper will be out there. That'll just be a single.
So that's fine. You go wider. There's a deep point in place. No problem with that.
Well, you only got one man out there. If the batsman is clever enough to just guide it past short third man.
Jack, I don't know if you've spoken to any sort of coaches on your podcast about this thing of, you set the field in a certain way, obviously, because that's where you want the bowler to bowl, but then obviously it does telegraph to the batter where the ball's going to be.
We haven't, but we've got Chris Nash, who played played for years in county cricket, on our podcast this evening. So maybe I'll ask him that question.
That would be interesting. Hardick comes in, pulled away by Milan in front of square. It's going to be another single. Yes, people might compare it to a game of poker, but I think the very best comparison is rock, paper, scissors, where you are just trying to anticipate what the other person is going to do. That is the end of the over. I think we had 91 off 9.
We've got El Chopernos. Greetings, you fantastic folks. That's all he has to say. But greetings back to you.
Hello, our old friend Abhishek, regular
contributor. Yes.
Yeah. Cousin Rossiter. Who was that jingle for?
Hard to tell sometimes.
I think he may be referring to the Hardik Pandya jingle, the break one that says "Breaking News."
And over on YouTube, Brett Haddin, small country England will lose. So,
Could you? I don't know if Brett Haddin is Australian, but could you have a more Australian name?
Is he related to the one of the greatest irritants of recent times from an Australian point of view? He played the role of annoying wicketkeeper batter very well, Brad Haddin.
Oh, that series where he averaged 50 all off the edge.
Yeah, I remember watching every single ball of that Hussey-Haddin partnership in 2010-11. Oh boy.
Well, happy memories from 2010-11 generally, but yes, there was that one.
On the deadest pitch of all time. Well, not the deadest pitch of all time, but it was a very dead Gabba pitch.
It was a series that encouraged me to start playing cricket again, listening to Test Match Sofa as it was in the late evenings and all the excitement of that. Anyway, very different game now, as Chahar comes in again, 14 from his first over. He's back to a more conventional style, but the ball has been slammed away over wide long off on the back foot, and it's 6 more to Joss Butler.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Up in the stands, it's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
Talk about bowling setups. This is a batting setup. Butler came down the track early, hit him over his head, and ever since then Rahul Chahar has been too short.
Yes, and Butler was very quick to get a wide base there, which makes it easy to power hit the ball away. See what happens this time. It's outside off stump. It turns away. It's going to be a wide. It's well left by Butler. Wide. And that is a skill because you don't want to just cloth that into the offside for one, or worse still, get an edge trying to hit it. Chahar, that's a straighter ball, and it's a little bit turns into Butler, clips into the leg side. They should get two. I'm sure they will. Running. Rohit unable to prevent the two. And 100 up for England, 100 for one, 9.2 overs.
Chahar is definitely bowling to try and get Butler off strike.
Well, it's not like Milan's been slow.
He's an interesting one, Chahar, because in the IPL, the last IPL, he was either really good or really average. Getting dropped, didn't he, for the playoffs?
Don't know. That one's into the pads. He's turned Josh Butler round a bit leading edge, a little bit quick single, but they get there comfortably enough.
I was looking at it the other day. I don't think so, because he played 15 games in the tournament. I don't think he ended up getting dropped. I think they ended up playing another spinner as well, didn't they?
I think they swapped him.
Oh, didn't Giant Yadav come into...
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Came in just for the playoffs, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think partly that was because Chahar's form fell away slightly towards the end of that IPL, which is probably why he's only kind of getting games now.
Well, he's playing for India now as Milan tips that one into the leg side. A comfortable single. Race to 50, Milan 47, Butler 46.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Chahar will ordinarily be finding himself behind both Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal in terms of the wrist spinner queue for India. Kuldeep not in this series. He's back in the one-day international series, and Chahal was dropped after not having his best series thus far.
No, and we can see that off the last 16 balls, we've had 35 runs. England, not to put a curse on them, but almost cruising at the moment. Chahar is into the pads, and it's tipped into the leg side. It's one of those they'll look for two, but the fielders are quick enough that time, just a single.
Oh, the rest of this over very nicely, Rahul Chahar, after being hit for six. He's not completely lost the plot, as could have happened.
No, one more ball to go. He'll want to try to get out of the over without a boundary. Still on 0 for 26 off his 11 balls. So, India's spinners, despite Adil Rashid being England's most economical bowler, hasn't worked the same way for India so far. Chahar to complete the over to Milan. On the back foot, punches up to mid-on. Be an easy single. That's the end of the over. It's 104 for 1 after 10, and England need 121 off the remaining 10.
A couple of tweets in. Mayank, I understand there's a 5-match T20 series because we're gearing up for the World Cup. But why are there 3 ODIs? What's the point of the extra week of white ball cricket? Luke, Andy is gesturing.
Everything means money.
Yeah, ODI cricket is still, in general, the most profitable form of international cricket because of the TV rights. It's kind of that perfect sweet spot between the game lasting long enough and the scoring rate being high enough, as it were. And it is. They will count towards qualification points for the World Cup, although India qualify for that anyway automatically as hosts. So it's only marginally useful.
And Leah's tweeted a photo of the Australia 1, England 3 Victory Down Under DVD set, which will be evening entertainment.
With the sprinkler dance.
I believe that is the series, yeah.
I listened to a podcast some of you might be familiar with called Top Flight Time Machine, and one of the things they do is they go through old Roy of the Rovers episodes, and for some reason in one summer of Roy of the Rovers he was playing cricket, and the strips are all about cricket, and they're suitably bizarre and funny, but the two presenters, who are very much more football fans, are starting to get into cricket, and one of them was saying how relaxing it is watching the England Test series in the morning. And he said, if I was marketing cricket, I'd have the slogan, cricket, exciting but relaxing.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You can kind of see it. It kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when Test cricket is good, there's nothing else like it in the world. But those periods of excitement are, I wouldn't say, but there are those periods of setup where you can sort of, those periods of light and shade, as it were.
Sure, but even white ball cricket can be relaxing in this way. Put it on backgrounds. That one's clipped past short fine leg into the boundary for 4 by Milan. Natarajan onto bowl, lost his line there a little bit, and that's 50 for Milan.
Blizzard of jingles.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Magister temerato, malum devoratrix, Tangarassu Natarajan.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
It is quite funny, this Roy of the Rovers strip. It's working off the premise that a literal football team can play international cricketers at cricket and be competitive. Here's Natarajan. He finds his Yorker that time. Milan plays it out to extra cover. And in fact, Kohli's on it quickly enough to prevent a run.
So is this a retro comic from the era when maybe players could play football and cricket, or is this
I think so, yes. It's from the early 80s, 1982. There were a few.
That's a little bit late for the dual professionals.
Well, it is, but players, I know Alan McDonald, the late Alan McDonald, used to play cricket for Shepherd's Bush, and there were a few more players playing, club cricket, if not high standard. That's Milan's shot, up and over extra cover. Don't know if he plays football, but he can certainly play cricket, and that's another 6.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lip.
And it may have been around the time Ian Botham was playing for Scunthorpe Reserves or whoever it was.
He played a few games for Scunthorpe. Viv Richards played in a World Cup qualifier for Antigua. Of course, well, in the modern day era, got at least Perry, of course. He's played in a World Cup for both football and cricket.
In World Cup finals?
In an actual tournament for Australia.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Certainly that would be quite rare. Anyway, Natarajan again. Left arm over to Milan. Again, he's going for that off-stump Yorker. It's beautiful placement from Milan. It flies past extra cover, and it's wide enough to beat long off. And Natarajan, these full balls outside off stump would be good against long batsmen, but it's Milan's strong area.
Can I ask a question from Knuckles? You might know this.
Yeah.
I seem to sort of miss Natarajan in last year's IPO in the blur of games. Is he being mismanaged a bit here by Kohli bowling him in the middle overs? I was under the impression he kind of bowled up front or at the end.
No, he's
not right now.
No, primarily middle and death. He didn't bowl much in the power play for the Sunrisers last year.
But this is strategically correct. It's just not paying off.
Yeah, he's going for what he's good at, which is the Yorkers. He's just missed them a few times, and Milan's played that really nicely.
Milan's played some beautiful shots outside off stump.
Yeah, I mean, this is very possibly Milan's best innings for England in T20 cricket. I know he scored he scored a very good 99 against New Zealand, but he started slow in that game. He's just he started in fourth gear or fifth gear and just hasn't let up at all yet.
It's Natarajan again. That one is a bit straighter, and Milan clips it into the leg side. It's going, but it's just the one.
That's good from Natarajan. He got that to tail in a little bit. That little bit of extra you need sometimes with the Yorkie. Sometimes you get the ball to dip or swing a little bit. Just throws the batter off line.
Something to stop the batsman from hitting it for 4 and making him settle for a single.
It's interesting. It's an interesting strategy because England's sort of recent resurgence in power play bowling and at the death, they barely bowl any Yorkers. Archer and Wood barely bowl any Yorkers these days. Jordan is really the only one of their bowlers who goes significantly to it, and we've not seen many in this series.
Well, as I said in the first innings, people have realised that margin, it's great when it works, but that margin of error is so small and you just get it a little bit wrong and you can be going the distance.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Hardik Pandya sets himself up for the Yorker at the death, or other hitters do as well. Pollard.
Another one from Natarajan. It's really a very, very full half volley, not quite a Yorker. Butler pokes it out into the offside. Another single, 16 off the over, 120 for 1. England lead 105 off 9 overs.
Warren says, "Come on, Joss, get a move on. 40 minutes to the England-Ireland game. This will be better than that. Don't
the egg chasing. Don't bother with that."
Yeah. Pirate Badshah. You know, the thing that really got me going as a cricket fan, as opposed to being on the periphery, was how relaxing it was to go watch or listen to when I was developing insomnia during my teens. Suckered us into that one a little bit there. And Dave Wood, when my team won the Leicestershire Southern League in the early 90s, we played Leicester Tigers rugby team in a 25-over game as a reward. That was the trophy, I guess.
I was going to say, you didn't end up playing them at rugby, did you? Jesus.
No, you wouldn't want to return game.
I'm pretty sure Martin Johnson was playing for Leicester in the mid-90s, and Jesus.
That was not an uncommon thing to do, but, you're playing against maybe, county sides with a few sort of, second teamers and celebs, whereas the premise of this Roy Race thing is they're playing full-on international cricketers, going at full pelt and still holding their own.
What tournament are they playing in?
It's one of these really convoluted Roy the Rovers storylines. Shahar is in. That's a horrible wide. That wouldn't have been out of place from a Melchester Rovers bowler, well outside leg stump. Wide.
Well taken by Rishabh Pant, actually, because that was very wide.
It was. He skipped across there to take that one, so not a great start from Chahar in this over. That one's into the pads, and it's flicked to backward square. It will be a single. No, it's a fundraising thing for a down on their 4th division club. And for some reason, again, they can get this team of international cricketers to presumably come and play for nothing to raise money. This is only a few months after Roy Race was shot. In it, do you remember? Of course, you might. Well, again, depends how old you are. Have you ever heard of the whole "Who Shot JR" kerfuffle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, is that from Dallas?
That's Dallas. That was 1981, and that was a huge thing on television. I think that was just enormous.
Yeah, that's Jack -11.
Yes. So they had "Who Shot Roy Race." Outside leg stump. That'll be another wide. Chahar is just generally struggling against the left hand, right hand. He's got quite a fetching man bun, not dissimilar to your own, Knackle. Anyway, in he comes, shorter, and that one's punched back past him and will be an easy single.
Yeah, his is the smaller bun. There's I think just less hair in just overall. I've got this. I haven't had a haircut since I think January of 2020.
I've certainly been doing my own haircuts. How have you been managing, Jack?
My girlfriend cuts hair.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So she's not a barber, but she's done a barbering course, so she keeps me tidy.
We were saying the other day these restrictions don't seem to apply to the likes of Sam Curran with his new Buffon. They got someone in to do that. I don't think that was done by a teammate. Steps away, Butler. The bowler follows him. All that happened about 3 foot outside leg stump. Pant caught the ball and is appealed, and India are thinking about a review. They've got 2, of course. Kohli does a bit of an eyebrows. Pant seems interested. Kohli says, yeah, why not?
I think that's fair enough. Why not, to be honest?
That was definitely out. Was that definitely out? I don't know.
There was an open discussion as to whether Butler did under-edge it. If so, Butler's rather outthought himself on this occasion. You know what? That's not that far away from the bat.
Far away. I can't see any deviation. Has it flicked his pad? It's well after the bat's gone through. And like I say, all of this is happening outside the blue wide line. But Joss Butler has gone even further than that. So it's flicked his pad on the offside. Ultra Edge says no, and we should be moving on. Yeah, a little flick off the pad.
Well done, I guess, from Chahar to bowl a dot ball to Butler.
Yep, it was certainly an unusual one. He followed him a long way.
In its way, yeah, it was good bowling, I thought.
You've got 2 options there when the batsman goes so far. You can follow him, or you can bowl it 2 feet outside off stump. But if you're already planning to bowl it foot outside leg stump, that's a difficult thing to change at the last instant. Anyway, 1 run was in fact, no runs was the result. As we got the same again. This time Butler gets in front of it. 1 bounce out towards Shreyas Iyer. It was just flat enough, so he had no chance of getting there, and playing the whole game 2 feet outside leg stump here as Butler gets 50.
Yeah, 50 off 30 balls for Joss Butler. There's been a lot of scoring in that kind of range. 2 fours and 4 sixes for the Universe Joss. Another series, another dominant one.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is on.
Swing from Milan. No connection. Comes off his pad for a leg by. 126 for 1. England have got that target down below 100. 99 more they need off 8.1 overs.
He's got through the over tidily enough so far, Rahul Chahar. If he can get out of this boundaryless, he'll have done very well.
He's had a couple of wides, but if he, as you say, if he gets away for 9 or 10, that is below the rate. Very, very reserved celebration of 50 from Joss Butler. He knows the job is indeed only halfway done. And a handshake with Dawid Malan. Chahar comes in to hopefully complete the over from his point of view. Indeed he does. He's pushed into the offside out towards a sweeper. Half the players are moving into position for the next over. It's that much of an agreed single. Kohli almost gets one in the back of the head, but sadly not quite.
7 runs
Just
off
comedy value, not devoted to injure him or anything.
7 runs off it. That'll do nicely for India at this stage. That's the cheapest over for quite some time, I think. Yes, the cheapest over since the 7th.
Yeah. So Chahar finally, I'm not sure I'd say finding his rhythm, because everything was a bit random in that over, but he certainly got out with a good result. So you're going to have one more over of us, and then Nestlers and Al will be in to take you home for what will hopefully be an exciting finish.
We do have a couple of tweets. Leah, there was actually a Dallas role-playing game back in the day made by Victory Games. There's a picture of another one of their board games, which is a little bit suspect. Christ the Choir, I remember Jim Cumes playing in goal for Aston Villa and Lancashire and Worcestershire at cricket, having to stop cricket in July to go to pre-season training. That was the 1970s, so not too long ago.
Yeah, playing county cricket and sort of first or second division football wasn't that uncommon at the time. You players didn't do as much sort of pre-season stuff during the winter, so you could play winter sports and summer sports all at the same time. And certainly it was de rigueur in Australia that you would go out playing all sorts of sports all year round. Well into your professional career. Anyway,
we do have an ex-football pro in my over 50 squad.
Oh really? Who do you play for?
Are we just going to? Yeah, it's Gary Phillips who played. I don't know if you heard of. Played 300 or 400 games as a goalkeeper for Barnet and Leyton Orient. I think he's a good cricketer.
That's a good career. Anyway,
we only have him until July. He goes back to being goalkeeping coach at Crystal Palace.
Right, sure. Anyway, we do have a change of bowling. India's best bowler thus far into the attack. Jingle
yes, it is, and he starts outside off stump, and is that going to be another wide? Yes, it is. Wide.
The eyes have it.
He got Tendulkar from North, a better bat than we thought. He got Booby Kuma's eyes.
Yep, going for the tram line there. Missed it by an inch. Not an inch is all you need, as the actress said to the bishop. Kumar is in again. Butler steps across again. He's going for that tram line, but Butler swats it up towards long on. Be an easy single. He hands off to Milan, who's caught up Joss Butler in terms of strike rate. He's ahead in runs because he's faced more balls.
Yes, it's just a one over from Bhuvi here. You're expecting this game to go deep, but India going back to their best bowler, a wicket now, or a very another tight over now, and India can just put a little bit of pressure on England, which they haven't been able to apply for the last few overs. Run rate now, I know Butler is thinking about boundaries rather than run rate, but the run rate is over 2 runs a ball.
I was going to come back to that, actually, Jack. That's something Dan Weston talks about a lot. boundary percentage, team boundary percentage and batsman boundary percentage is a real determining factor in results. Butler has absolutely missed that one, and it just snaked past off stump. A slower ball almost went under Milan's bat, I'm sorry.
Yeah, nicely bowled by Boovey. That leg cutter that just dipped under the bat. Didn't miss off stump by very much. Milan was about a week early on it.
If I'm not mistaken, the team that hits the most boundaries wins a cricket match or a T20 match about 2/3 of the time.
I think it was.
Battle.
Oh, it was more like 80%.
More than that, 80% possibly. Yeah.
I thought that was the 3 wickets in the power play stat. Anyway, it's a lot. It's quite regularly.
Yes. And so, the other 20%, they'll either be close or the team who scored the most sixes won it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the West Indies method that got them to 2.
Yeah, it certainly worked very well for them. Punched into the offside by Milan. No 6 there, just a single. Boovey proving India's best resource here, but he's only gotten one more over after this one.
That World T20 semi-final between India and the West Indies gets talked about a lot as something that teams have looked at to go away from the old way of a low dot ball percentage, which, you know, Kohli played a brilliant innings in that, a very Kohli innings of very low dot ball percentages and running lots of 2s and so forth, but Lendl Simmons and co just out 6-hit India and got them to the final.
Wasn't that a game where India scored 190 for 2 or something and lost?
Yeah.
Reverse attempted by goodness, it does confuse you, Butler, but it was a full ball outside of stump and he just plain missed it. So India dragging England back in here.
Fair enough shot. Short third man's up. You can see what Butler was trying to do, but he got a bit cramped for room and the reverse sort of stand-up paddle didn't come off.
So you have to be aware with that shot when you swing all the way around. You don't knock your stumps over. He did seem to just lift his bat up to prevent that. Only 3 runs off this over so far, but Butler's got hold of that one. Has he got enough? No, he hasn't. He's been caught at long off. Hardik with the catch, and Bhuvi Kumar may have turned this game in India's favour.
And Kohli and Josh Butler are having a word
exchanged.
Oh dear.
Butler is going back to have words with Virat Kohli. This is not a good look. Or is he? No, Kohli's having a word with the England bench, I think. But words exchanged anyway.
That one will run and run. But this last couple of overs has gone about as well as India could have hoped for. 7 off the 12th over. There'd been, well, I mean, including a run of wides, it had been over 2 overs since the last boundary. Butler backed himself to clear Hardik and didn't, straight down his throat. Good innings, 52 off 34, but not as pyrotechnic perhaps as England needed him to be, and now India are, I would say, semi on top.
I would say so. He sliced that one a little bit rather than getting the real 100% flat bat I think he was looking for. Well, it's as carded. It's Johnny Bairstow. He's going to have 1 ball before we have a switch around. That's right, isn't it?
Johnny
Yes.
Bairstow's smarter than the average Bairstow. Johnny Bairstow's been this good since daycare, so all put on your wigs and let the crimson hair blow. I want the Pope to give him his own Lord's Prayer. Oh, he can hit the 6s, although it's so dark. He'd even run a 10 at Bradford Park Avenue. No other Yorkshireman can compare. I tell you, Johnny Bairstow's smarter than the average Bairstow.
130 for 2, 95 needed of 43 balls, and once that gets over 2 runs per ball, it's difficult.
I wonder if there's some analysis to be done about long runs of boundaryless, stretches of an innings, increasing the likelihood of a wicket.
Like a lot of dots in test matches.
Because it had been 13 balls, including the wide, certainly the longest boundaryless stretch of the innings, of the test match, of the match rather.
Yes. Kumar to complete the over. Here he comes, fielders walk in, and Bairstow just prods it into the offside. There'll be no run. That's all for me for today. Is that all from you, Jack, or Knackle?
Oh, I'm moving over to summarise now.
Okie doke. Well, Knackle and myself will hopefully see you for some ODIs and enjoy the rest of the game.
Yeah, Andy.
Thank you very much, Andy. Yeah, India back very much in control of this game. Just 10 runs off the last 2 overs, and the wicket of Jos Buttler for 52. Still words being exchanged between Virat Kohli and everyone, and everything. Nitin Menon is trying to calm him down. Very phlegmatic and very in control character, Nitin Menon. I enjoy his umpiring work. I've no idea what this is about, but Kohli was very animated towards Jos Buttler as Buttler got out. The conversation is still going on, and Virat Kohli is still trying to make his point to Nitin Menon. Hardik Pandya is waiting to bowl, by the way, and I'll just jingle him up while Virat Kohli gets whatever's in his system out of it. I think it's fair to say, Jack and Nestlers, we've not heard the end of whatever this is.
Yeah, I couldn't work out what it was about.
No, I'm not seeing any information about what any of this might be. Anyone out there who's got the sound up, help.
Yeah. Maybe he's complaining that there's too much camera on Buttler.
Hardik Pandya in, short ball, Milan pulls, doesn't time this one out, down to long leg. Natharajan's in quickly to make sure that they can't come through for a second run. Rishabh Pant forgets to catch the ball, single, 131 for 2. Yeah, it's been 14 legitimate deliveries since the last boundary. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Jack, has bowled brilliantly today. 3 overs, 2 for 9.
He's been the difference between the two sides, I think, in to use that particular cliche. I think India here, they basically need one more good over to put this beyond England. Possibly 2 if something goes drastically wrong. But I think they're big favourites at this point.
You'd have to think so. I mean, obviously, Bairstow's been in great form. Milan's going well on 66 off 42. Got Morgan to come, so it's not dead yet, but still 13.75 and over. Short from Hardik. Tennis smashed out to the leg side by Bairstow as he backed away to leg and got himself front on, but can't beat Surya Kumar Yadav at deep mid wickets. Just a single again. 15 balls since the last boundary.
I think that's that boundaryless stretch is what is currently taking the game away from England.
Yep.
It's really, really hard to score at more than 6 or 7 and over without hitting 4s and 6s.
Yeah, and it put the pressure on Buttler. Maybe he just tensed up a little bit on his attempted clearance of long off. You'd expect that to go sailing, but he didn't quite manage it. This is shortish from Hardik into the body, pulled away by Milan. Another single. India will take these singles all day long.
Ooh.
As Hardik nearly runs into the non-striker.
Well, Steve Kellett, our man in Kuala Lumpur, says, "Oh, bottoms."
A valuable contribution.
Indeed, it was. England were well up with the rate at the end of the 11th over, but then an over that went for 7, then that one over for 3, that over for 3 with the wicket of Buttler. Now an over of just 3 off the first 3 balls, and all of a sudden England need over 14 runs and over, need 92 off 39 balls. Bairstow new to the crease, Milan on 67. Hardik reaches the end of his run. Men up, short third man, backward point, cover, mid off. Everyone else back on the leg side for Bairstow. Hardik goes full, and that's clubbed down the ground by Bairstow. He's waiting for the Yorker but can't beat Rahul Chahar at long on. So another ball goes without a boundary. 134 for 2 with the single.
In that, in the Tewatia game in the IPL, what was it that Rajasthan managed to catch up in the last 5 overs? Is it 90 or 5 overs?
Something like that. And Rahul Tewatia, I think, was 23 off 24 balls at one point. And then scored, 20 off his next 9 or something. Or even maybe even faster than that. It was extraordinary.
We're not quite there yet, but it's going to be pretty miraculous.
Hardik into Milan, goes full delivery, Yorker into the pads, well bowled by Hardik. Milan tries to swing it away, but can't get his pads out of the way. Just a leg by to short third man. 16 balls without a boundary.
They're saying 22 on screen, Knuckle. Maybe have you missed?
Oh, there's a few wides. There were a lot of wides.
Oh. There we are. That is, there's nothing to do but say it again. It's what's killing England here is the inability to reach the rope.
Yeah, coming up to 3.1 overs worth of deliveries. In fact, it's 3 overs now worth of deliveries plus a few wides. No change to the field. Everyone up on the offside, everyone back on the leg. Short from Hardik, pulled by Bairstow, make that 3.1 overs of legitimate deliveries without a boundary. Just a single out to Surya Kumar Yadav. There was a single off every ball of that over, I think, but that does not help England. They need 89 off the last 6 overs if they are to win this series. 136 for 2.
Chris the Choir says, sadly my sound is the national anthem in an empty stadium in Dublin. Probably the best reception it's ever had there. Credit to Kohli for that bowling change, says Venkatesh. Also Kohli's strike rate against Butlers. Yeah, I think it's just frustrating for England, isn't it? You can see the end in sight, and yet they're just being stifled by good, decent bowling.
By far the longest.
Not a lot you can do about it.
I don't think there's been any lack of intent, Jack, to hit, or not a significant lack of intent to hit boundaries.
No.
Yeah, I think that over from Boothby was really well bowled. I think the Chahar over, the one before, was good again. Hardik's over there were some bad balls in that, but Bairstow smacked 2 of them straight at a fielder, and there's. Let's not pretend there's not a little bit of an element of luck in what's happened over the last 3 overs.
Shardul Thakur, none for 19 off his 2 overs, replaces Bhuvneshwar Kumar. They want to keep his last over in hand. It's another cutter from Shardul Thakur, the leg cutter this time. Bairstow swings way over the top of the ball. There is no runs, getting a little bit desperate from England now, understandably so, with the rate climbing.
Shardul Thakur lays red ass.
Yeah, sustaining 15 and over for 6 overs, even with wickets in hand, is going to be tough. And that's the scenario. He's got 15 off the last 3.
Is indeed. Shardul Thakur in, full outside off stump. Bairstow hangs on the back foot and drives down the ground, a misfield, and finally that run of boundaries. What was that, 3.5 overs worth of legitimate deliveries without a boundary has ended. Hardik Pandya got a hand to it, but Bairstow hit it too well. At long last, a 4.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
It's good from Bairstow, maybe anticipating the Yorker, hanging deep in the crease. Hit it very hard. Hardik slid past the ball. Probably should have stopped it, to be honest. Definitely should have stopped it, dived over the top of it. 140 for 2 now, England. Deep cover, mid-off, mid-on, deep mid-wicket, and deep square leg back. Goes for the wide Yorker. There is a man out there, and it's gone straight to him. Surya Kumar Yadav takes the catch. Well bowled by Shardul Thakur, bowling to his field. Bairstow took the bait. He was backing away to leg. He had to reach back towards the offside for it. Couldn't get enough on it. Straight down Surya Kumar's throat. Thakur has the wicket. Bairstow is gone for 7 off as many deliveries. England 140 for 3, and this might even be beyond Morgan's England now.
You would assume it will be Morgan himself who comes in now, if England are serious about getting this, which I'm sure they will be.
I think Owen Morgan is the only man who can save England now. Ben Stokes batted well the other night, but he doesn't have the range. He doesn't have what Owen Morgan has, and it is indeed the England captain joining Davin Milan.
He's got the power to hit every ball for a 6. Come on, it's Owen bloody Morgan. He can do it all day with his finest play. You know it's Owen bloody Morgan.
If anyone can. But the last 15 balls have had 13 runs off them and 2 wickets. And England are in a hole. They need 15.45 and over. They need 85 off 33 balls. Darvin Milan's been starved of strike, been starved of boundaries in the last few overs. Owen Morgan is one of the most ferocious hitters, death hitters in the world, but this will be going some. He's got an over of Bhuvneshwar Kumar left. He got 2 overs of Natarajan left, and 1 over of Shardul Thakur left as well. So India have a little bit of flexibility if they need it with that 6th bowler.
Well, Steve Kellett says it'll take a miracle from here for England to do it, or an utter bowler meltdown.
Shardul Thakur in goes tight to the body of Darvin Milan. They cross while the ball was in the air, and they come through for a single, a chopped single off the inside edge and pad.
Miracle is definitely what we'll need.
Probably need 2 bowlers melting down, really, or an over that goes for 25 or something.
Venkatesh says, apart from the outrageous effort by Jordan, fielders have been reluctant to dive near the boundary ropes. Could it be due to an underprepared outfield?
I'm not sure that's accurate. I think we've seen a lot of dives, just not very good ones. Jordan wasn't. That Jordan catch in full speed is staggering every time you see it.
Well, the best bit is Roy laughing.
Yeah. There's nothing else to do at that point, really, is there? Morgan facing up to his first ball from Shardul Thakur. It's short into the body. Morgan just jabs it away into the onside, takes a single out through deep square. Washington Fields come through for a single. Thakur can get out of this over. He'll have without a boundary, he'll have done his job very much so. Got the wicket of Johnny Bairstow, just 6 runs off the over thus far. England 142 for 3, need another 83 off at 16 and over.
Yeah, 100%. This is that one more good over that India needed if you can finish it off here. You can almost close the book on the game.
Short fine leg, short third man, backward point quite fine, and wideish extra cover. Shardul Thakur into Darvin Milan. He's bowled him. Goes for the big swing over the leg side. Plays over the top of the ball. Lost his shape. Middle stump is flattened. Darvin Milan, the inverse Darvin Milan on this occasion, started quick, tailed off, was starved of strikes, starved of boundaries, had to hit out, missed his swing. 68 off 46 for Darvin Milan. 9 fours and 2 sixes. Another 2-wicket over from Shardul Thakur, who's proving his value to this Indian T20 side. 6 runs and the 2 wickets in the over. England 142 for 4.
Well,
the large soprano is going through some gargling exercises.
Love the jingles, says Spirit of E. Thank you, Spirit. Peter Williams and Brett are talking about England losing. Game over, says Dara Azizi. Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Shame. Yeah. When did it go down to the wire?
Yeah, it did look like it for a while when Butler and Milan were going well. England were, as I say, all pretty much up with the rate at the 11th over, but it's been excellent in the latter stages of the innings from India. Finally, it took a little while to work out where exactly to bowl, but they've done well. Combination of slower balls and good tight lines. Very good from England, and good boundary from India. Good field placings as well. Hardik continues. Morgan tries to cut and misses through to the keeper. There is no run. I'll jingle up Hardik Pandya now. I don't think Hardik would have been bowling this over if the last one had been an expensive one, but Kohli's just keeping his gun bowlers in reserve just in case something goes wrong.
And in breaking news, Hardik Pandya.
Slower ball into the pitch. Morgan swings too hard, swings too early, misses through to the keeper. There is no run. 2 dot balls to start with from Hardik Pandya, starting his last over. He's gone for 32 off his first 3 overs.
Only is actually off the pitch. It's Rohit captaining India at this point.
Again?
Yeah, it's the second time. Third time in 2 games, in fact. He said he had a bit of a thigh pain towards the end of the last game. Jack, even Owen Morgan is trying to swing too hard now.
Basically, but like, what choice does he have? I suppose England probably have to hit 1 in 3 balls for 4 or 6.
Well, that's it. That's exactly it, right? Morgan does try and hit this for 6, but he's hit it straight up in the air. Should be caught by the man backpedaling. In fact, probably KL Rahul running in from the long one has time to run in, steady himself about 5 yards in. 5 yards really from the edge of the circle. That's how high it went. Takes a simple catch. KL Rahul, the sub fielder, takes the catch for Virat Kohli. One of India's fielders eats a sandwich, and Owen Morgan is gone for 1. 142 for 5. England sinking.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Well, Warren says succession ceremony of the top T20 team. A bit too early for that, I think.
England have a lot of credit in the bank.
Yeah. And Steve Kellett says, whoopsie, I think we just went from miraculous to impossible. The mezzo with the horned helmet is warming up.
And for some reason, Chris Jordan is coming in now. Not that it matters.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry. More England caps will soon draw nigh. Or if they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the windy team.
I mean, it doesn't matter that much when you 18 over, but I really don't see why you wouldn't send Archer in now.
Or Sam Curran.
Well, indeed, yes, he's leapfrogged 2 players who had very good boundary hitting seasons in the IPL. Chris Jordan is not awful with a bat, but he's not of the hitting power of those two. Stokes hasn't faced a ball, neither has Jordan. Stokes is about to face up to Hardik Pandya. Stokes goes back in his crease and runs it to backward point, and they come through for a single. When I said that, Morgan's trying to swing too hard, it wasn't a criticism of Morgan. It was an indication of the situation that even Morgan was losing his shape.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's a symptom rather than the cause of England's current predicament. I think swinging too hard, but credit to India. I think they got, I reckon, 25 runs beyond the par score on this pitch, and that's put immense pressure on these England batters, and there's probably only a 6 or 7 over spell after the power play, or in the second half of the power play and through to about 10 overs, where England really threatened.
Yeah, indeed. It's 3 for 7 now in the last, or 3 for 8 rather now in the last 8 balls. But really the damage was done in that 3 overs without a boundary. Shorter ball into the body from Hardik. Jordan tries to flap it past short fine leg. He's desperately imploring Nitin Menon to signal a wide, but I think it did pass over leg stump rather than wide of it. There is no run.
I mean, India have been on top all day, really, haven't they? England's, there was that period where England's batting, you thought, they can maybe do something here, but you're always behind the 8 ball when you've got a score like that on the board in the T20, aren't you? And
India possibly left 10 runs out there.
Yes.
It's one of those it's a weird innings to read from Virat Kohli. I think we're being hypercritical now. Down the leg side from Hardik Pandya. Bit of a shake of the head from Hardik Pandya, who's saying, was it a wide? Yes, it was. Nitin Menon signals it.
Wide.
Yeah, so Chris Jordan at 7, strike rate of 128. That's got to be below Archer's, hasn't it?
I think so. That was Jofra Archer's only T20 international innings the other night.
Yeah, well, maybe Archer just couldn't find his box or something.
Are you trying to get Chris Jordan a net ahead of the ODI series?
Yeah.
Had to go for the communal box, but wasn't having it.
Then comes Hardik, last ball of the over, last ball of his spell. It's a short ball, which he's bowled a few too many of today and got hit around by Darvin Milan in his second over, but he gets out of that one nicely enough. It's a dot ball. It's another over that goes entirely India's way. A wicket and 2 runs off it. Hardik Pandya finishes with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 34, which I think he will take. He's had a good series, Hardik. He's bowled his full allocation in 3 of the 5 games, and he put the final nail in with his innings today with the bat. England 144 for 5, need 20 and over off the last 4 overs.
Colin Rosenthal says, time to switch the TV over to the rugby, I think. Oh, okay, Cole. Well, glad you were with us for most of it. Leah says, England sinking, Virat the global warming to Owens Albion. Jeff Perkins says, Jordan in as night watchman. Venkatesh says, if India win this series, it'll be India's 6th consecutive T20 series win. India have lost 2 T20 series in 18 before this. They've drawn 2 as well. Hashtag the best. Well, they're certainly very good.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you can throw in the without Jasprit Bumrah element of that with this series. Very impressive, I think, beating a good England team, a pretty much full-strength England team. It's been a bit of an odd series in some ways. The first 3 games pretty much was all good bowling performances, making easy chases. Natarajan is continuing. He's bowling back into the attack rather. He bowls the 17th. It's into the pads of Stokes, who swings it away into the onside. They come through for a single. The intensity has rather gone out of this game as I jingle up Natarajan.
Magister temerato, malum devoratrix, Tangarasu Natarajan.
You like lopsided scorecards. Darvin Milan 68 off 46, Jos Buttler 52 off 34, next best 7. In fact 15 extras.
That's one of the more avant-garde jingles for Natarajan.
Flat batted by Jordan through the legs of Natarajan, might have got half a hand on it and dribbles down to Rohit Sharma, the de facto captain at long on. Come through for a single. Virat Kohli's been off the field for the last 3 overs.
He's back for the victory lap.
Oh, is he?
Kohli. Yeah.
I see. Fair enough.
Some very sad England players on the TV screen at the moment.
Jos Buttler is glum, Darvin Milan is shell-shot, Jonathan Trott is pensive. There's Natarajan into Ben Stokes, backs away and ends up as a full toss, which he flat bats down the ground and does so well. Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul exchange wry looks as it thumps into the sponge 4 runs. That was a handy 40 not out of 20 for Ben Stokes here if he wants it.
Yeah, he's a player whose T20 international stats probably don't flatter him, or certainly don't flatter him. To be honest, so he'll maybe want to.
No half centuries for Ben Stokes in T20 international cricket. He's been playing for quite some time. I don't think that Ben Stokes is an elite T20 player, but he's certainly valuable to a team.
Yeah, he's not a bad one. He's someone who can bat in a top 6 and bowl, and there is room in most T20 teams for a guy who can do that. It would be better for England if he was slightly better at one of those skills, though, I think.
Yeah, if he sort of unleash his full hitting power and from early in his innings, then there's certainly a lot of value. Natarajan's going round the wicket. That's a great shot from Stokes. Goes for the Yorker again. Stokes goes deep in his crease and backs away outside leg stump and drills him past mid-off, back-to-back boundaries.
I think he heard you both then.
That's the run rate, isn't it? About 4 a ball.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, just the 21 runs and over. Getting a little bit stick cricket. 71 needed off 20. But go down swinging.
Oh, absolutely. Why not?
Ben Stokes now becomes only the 3rd England batter into double figures. Still has 5 to go to overtake extras. No wicket yet for Natarajan. gone over 12 and over on his return to international cricket. It's a full toss that sort of just below waist height, which Stokes doesn't really read properly and just punches down too long on for a single. Didn't get his arms out in front of him quickly enough. Are you sure, Jack, that Virat Kohli is back on the field? Because KL Rahul's still on field.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. He came on at least for a moment. He was running along. Unless he was sprinting out to give someone a drink or something ridiculous like that, then he's out there somewhere.
Oh, maybe. Okay, someone else has gone off because KL Rahul is definitely on there as a sub-fielder. Natarajan in goes a little bit shorter this time. Stokes tries to run himself out and fails as he came down the track and pushed it straight back to Natarajan, who had an underarm from 5 yards away and missed the stumps. The end result of all that is that there is no run. Stokes and Jordan laughing at each other. 12 runs off the over. Not the greatest day for Natarajan. None for 35 off his 3 overs. But the rest of the bowling has by and large been very good. England need 69 runs, nice, off the last 3 overs.
Venkatesh just qualifies his previous tweet where he said if India's win this series, he says, I still say if, especially till Stokes is gone. He's got a lot of faith in Ben.
Yeah, again, probably more than is borne out by his T20 international and indeed overall T20 stats. Had a slightly strange year for Rajasthan last year.
We've seen Ben Stokes do some amazing things, but this would be up there if he pulled this off.
Yes, it would. It would be
6 sixes and an over.
It would be. Kind of thing. It would be possibly the greatest heist of all time in T20 cricket, as Bhuvi comes back into the attack to try and make even that impossible. It's superb today. Bhuvneshwar Kumar bowls full outside off stump. Jordan drives out into the covers. A bit of work out there for Shreyas Iyer, who was not needed, as Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli and Surya Kumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya got India to 224 for 2. Flings the ball back into the keeper. They come through 4-2. Yeah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar 3.1 overs, 2 for 11 today. Outstanding at every stage of the innings that he's been called upon for 13 dot balls and only 1 boundary hit off him, as Bhuvi's in again, full outside off stump. Jordan drops bat on it and drives out to Shreyas Iyer. Easy a bit of fielding for him this time. Single taken, 159 for 5. That's the other great positive of the series, a fully fit and firing Bhuvi.
Oh, he's been phenomenal for India. I think quite a few people had written him off a little bit over the last year or so. Well, not written him off, but didn't think he would recapture his sparkling form of earlier in his career. But,
well, there's been quite a few people that have come in for India that have performed really well.
Yeah, Deepak Chahar has had a decent start to his T20 international career. Yeah. Navdeep Saini as well, but I think Bhuvi and Bumrah are the first choice too. This is flat batted hard by Stokes back at Bhuvi. He does well to field that in his follow through, and there is no run. 66 needed off 15 balls for what it's worth.
Yeah, that looked like it might have hurt a little bit. Oh no, he got hands on it. No,
yeah,
survive.
It would have been a very Bhuvi thing to do, to have to go off with an injury in a game that is probably dead. Stokes picks up the bat and watches as this ball dribbles well outside off stump. Bhuvi going for the wide Yorker and getting it wrong. Wings spread wide. India bowled the slower balls well again today. England weren't so good with them. In truth, we saw a few that hit that were a little bit overpitched and easy to drive. That's a slower ball, a little bit wider. Stokes swings through the line of the ball very, very early and misses it completely. Dribbles through to the keeper. There is no run. 160 for 5.
That looked very agricultural.
Yeah, you can't really blame him for heaving desperately at the ball.
We didn't get to see the explosive Pants today, did we?
No, I mean, Punt's had an old series, actually. He's not been actually explosive He's played some incredible shots early in his innings, but hasn't actually made a significant score. That will be a wide down leg as Stokes walks across way outside off stump. Booby tries to bowl him round his legs, but just misses the leg stump, and it goes through to the keeper for a wide.
He's not very happy about it.
No, Punt gives a little grin, like, come on.
Yeah, Stokes has sort of shuffled around a little bit, but it was a good foot wide of leg stump.
Yeah, it was.
So I don't think there's that much you can complain about, really.
But Rishabh Pant, we'll come to that after this ball from Booby. That's another wide down the leg side. Good take from Rishabh Pant. Three wides in 4 attempted deliveries from Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Kohli is back on the field now. But yeah, Rishabh Pant in this series, 21 off 23, 26 off 13, fair enough, 25 off 20, 30 off 23. So, okay, but nothing spectacular. Again, very leg-sidey. This time Stokes can't just watch it go past him as it hits him on the pad as he backed away outside leg stump. They come through for a leg by. I mean, he has played some absolutely ridiculous shots, Rishabh Pant. That reverse ramp off Jofra Archer will take some time for getting.
Yeah, I mean, he's regardless of the scores, he's just fantastic to watch, isn't he?
He had a slightly middling, if not poor, IPL.
I think he had a poor IPL. He scored it barely over a run a ball. It looked as though he was being asked to bat like someone else, frankly. Didn't really suit him, after having been brilliant for the previous 4 seasons. Booby in outside off stump to Jordan, who swings horribly at it and comes off the inside part of the bat straight to Rahul Chahar at square leg, who then lobs in a rather underpowered throw. Not great cricket all round, really, but that's what happens when the intensity has gone out of the game. Brilliant from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Even the last few, even the little run of wides there can't ruin his figures. 4 overs, 2 for 15 from Bhuvneshwar Kumar in a game where India scored 224 and even England are going 163 off 18 overs. Magnificent from Booby.
Colin Rosenthal just wants to point out that he's still listening to us, but he's watching the rugby. And our very own John O'Gordon is telling Venkatesh that according to the stats, India are not the best. England remain the best T20 side in the world, even if they lose this series.
That's right, England will stay top of the rankings, having a very good run.
Just imagine Stokes being on both sides of 2 of the greatest T20 heists of all time, and in the last over no less, says Lane.
Yes, indeed. Well, now it's 62 needed off 12. Natarajan is going to bowl out full outside off stump. Stokes drives to Kohli, who gets the throw in quickly. They don't come through for a single. I mean, you could be kind of funky now, Jack, and give someone, like, why don't they give Washington the last over or something?
Yeah. Give Rohit a bowl. That's from the Test series, didn't we?
Or God forbid, Kohli himself. It's one of my least favourite actions in world cricket.
Oh, I'd love to see it. I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, it's bad. Full into the pads from Natarajan. Stokes swings it away into the onside. There should be 2. Surya gets the throw in quickly. Had the throw been better, actually, Jordan might have been struggling, but it was offline. Natarajan had to go some way to his right to collect. Come through 4-2, and now England need exactly 6 runs a ball for 10 balls.
Well, yeah.
The game plan is clear.
We need a mercy rule.
Like in baseball, just lads, we're done. As Natarajan's in over the wicket to Stokes, who misses as he tries to hit the first of those 10 sixes in a row. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run, and now if the bowlers keep their feet behind the line and the ball within the tram lines, India have won. Oh, in fact, Stokes is out. I didn't realise there was so little celebration from everyone that I didn't realise he got a fine nick through to the keeper. So Natarajan does mark his comeback to international white ball cricket with a wicket. Stokes had a massive swing, little edge through to the keeper, 14 off 12. Not Stokes' fault. The game was pretty much done by the time he came in, but off goes the now disconsolate Ginger.
How's that? You messed about.
See Kohli there, geeing his troops up for one more push. Come on, we've got this now.
I hope they don't take any more wickets, just because it's will mean the game goes on for longer. Have you ever played in like a Sunday friendly where everyone knows what's going to happen, and the last 20 overs of the game or so are just fielded running around really quickly, trying to end it as soon as.
Just want to get in the bar.
Pub by 5, lads. Pub by 5.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway,
there's some track there who wants to get his average. You know.
Yeah. This man coming in for his only his second T20 international innings faces up to Natarajan. He's hit on the body for his troubles, and he and his Bayesian friend decide to run through for a single. Archer giving that up for dead as the throw came in from backward point. The throw missed, and they come through for a leg bye.
He will break your helmet, break your heart. Hotter than lava, cooler than Bogart. In your face, at your stumps, on your toes, on your mum. Joffre, Archer, Archer.
Jordan faces up to Natarajan. Were Sunrisers Hyderabad teammates a couple of years ago. This is, in fact, no, Jordan I think had left by that point. This is swings this out into the onside and they come through for a single. Yes, by the time Natarajan had emerged, Jordan had been being hit around all over the park for the Punjab Kings.
It's funny, it just shows you the mentality of the top professional with Kohli, where he's like, hands on his head there that they nearly got a run out, you know, and he's like, you know, he's not letting up at all, is he?
I think it was hands on his head because he nearly got a run out. I don't think anything to do with anyone else.
Jordan has a wristy swipe at this outside off stump, and they will come through for 2 runs. And the throw came in very quickly from Surya Kumar Yadav from the deep point boundary. Archer, I think, has given that up for dead. I thought he might have been in, to be honest, from looking at it in real time. The punt gathered well and whipped off the bails. He is just short. Jofra Archer did try and run his bat in. Probably rightly judged that there was no point diving at this stage of the game. But he's just short. Surya Kumar Yadav adds a run out to his stats, and well, it wasn't quite the comedy run out that every great collapse needs, but it was a run out. We'll take it. And England are 168 for 7.
There must be a run out here. Oh, how tragic.
Well, not really. As Sam Curran comes in at number 9.
Sam Curran.
What's his distinguishing feature?
Sam Curran.
He's not from Zimbabwe.
Sam Curran.
And he's beloved by Liz Yates.
Sam Curran.
Natarajan finishes with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 39. England need the small matter of 57 runs off the last over.
Well, Leah says, give him credit, Knuckle. Kohli's action has really improved. He no longer looks like Dr. Zoidberg hurling a mouldy sandwich in the batter's general direction.
Yeah, Kohli used to bowl off the... I think he bowled in that World Cup semi-final we were talking about and got a wicket. Might even have dismissed Chris Gale, but he bowls kind of off the wrong foot. Virat Kohli with his head at a weird angle. It's very
to look this up.
It's very unbecoming. Shardul Thakur is going to bowl the last over for what it's worth. Foot behind the line, lad. Short ball, and Jordan ducks through to Rishabh Pant. It goes. There is no run. We'll be here, of course, for all of the one-day international series between that's taking place in a probably empty stadium in Pune, which is a mercy for anyone who now doesn't have to attend that stadium, which has mostly no roof, despite being in one of the hottest and sunniest parts of India. But we'll be here for that. India have named their one-day international squad. We'll be keeping you apprised of when England name theirs. Those games are on the 23rd, the 26th, and 28th of March. As Thakur's in. Jordan has a big swing at this. Where's that gone? That's gone a long way up in the air and deep enough. 6 runs to Chris Jordan.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
When was the last 6 hit? The last 6 was hit after third ball of the 11th over.
Wow. That says it all, doesn't it?
It's a real moon shot from Jordan, though. That one.
Yeah,
a
real alley-oop. 81 metres, though. Big hit. Tarker's figures being slightly damaged. He's in. And that might be a little bit more damage as Jordan swings this over the leg side. No, didn't get enough of it. Simple catch for Surya Kumar Yadav. And Shardul Thakur has a third wicket. Jordan gone for a valiantly doomed 11 off 10.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
There's not really much more to say about that one.
Curran's gone, oh, for fuck's sake.
This game ended as a contest quite some time ago. 174 for 8. England need 51 of 3 balls.
Let's see if anyone's got anything to say. No. Oh, come on, Stokes. Remember Headingley, says Timo Suki a while back. Thoroughly disappointing, says Diana Craddock. Well, you know, you've got to take your hat off to India, I think. Played very well.
Yeah, that spell in the late middle part of the innings where they kept England quiet for 3 overs, won them the game. And then they took the wicket that resulted from that pressure. Sam Curran slams his first ball for 6. Nice shot.
Whee.
Dropped by one of the ball boys.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lip.
I would say handy net run rate damage limitation, but that doesn't apply in a bilateral series.
Do you think this will be the World Cup final?
I think the West Indies can't be discounted with their absolute commitment to that approach. Karen Pollard leading. But I think these two are the 2 best T20 international teams in the world. Australia are up there in the betting, but I don't actually particularly rate this Australia team in T20 international cricket.
Yeah, I'd like to have a little bet on the West Indies myself. I think you get a decent price on them.
2 balls left of the innings, and Curran flat bats the first of those. Shreyas Iyer makes a bit of a meal of the fielding, just about manages to reel it in as he chases the ball that he misfielded and come through for 2. They might have a look upstairs to see if that did indeed go for 4. They are going to have a look for what it's worth. Trust the process. Shreyas Iyer chases after it gets to the ball before he intersects with Sponge. All is well. Arthur Rashid will not face a ball. Sam Curran will face up to the last ball of this game. The last ball of what has been a very good series. It's ended rather anticlimactically, but India have done superbly in this game. On top from ball 1. Ball 20 ends with a straight ball 6. Lovely shot from Sam Curran. He ends with a nice 14 not out of 3 balls.
Oh, I say, chap, give me any lip.
But with his 14 off 3 balls, he's the 3rd highest scorer in the innings. India win by 36 runs. They win the series, and in truth, 36 runs, I think, slightly flatters England. India made 224 for 2 with Virat Kohli anchoring around Rohit Sharma, Suryakumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya exploding throughout the innings. There was no let-up from India. It's exactly what they wanted to do going into the series. They put into bat by Owen Morgan. Only really Adil Rashid and Ben Stokes emerging with any credit with the ball. Both going at under 9 and over and taking a wicket. Everyone else up over 10s. Mark Wood and Chris Jordan up over 13s. And then Jos Buttler and Davin Malan had England in the game for a little while. It was pretty much even up until about 11 overs, even after Jason Roy got out second ball of the innings. But then a 3-over spell with no boundaries ended with Buttler and holing out to Hardik Pandya off Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Davin Malan being bowled by Shardul Thakur either side of Johnny Bairstow, slapping Thakur to deep point, and Owen Morgan trying to when he came in, really it was pretty desperate, and he got out trying to hit the ball too hard, and really from then on the game was a procession. Magnificent from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Shardul Thakur will come out with the best figure statistically, 3 for 45. But and he did do well. He got those 2 wickets in the over. But Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he won't get man of the match, but he should be mentioned in dispatches. 17 dot balls in his 4 overs, just 1 boundary conceded, 4 overs, 2 for 15. Wicket for Hardik Pandya, who came back well after a dodgy start to the innings. 4 overs, 1 for 34. Washington just the 1 over.